Montford of the Hamilton Tiger Cats is terrorizing CFL pivots. 20 sacks and counting. And he's got a message for opposing quarterbacks. You can run. You can hide. But sooner or later, he's gonna get you. Montford and the Ticats visit the Riders on Adidas Friday Night Football.
Well, many times we're football, but when it feels just right, we're gonna kick back, relax, watching football on a Friday night. It's Friday, and we're gonna be hard. It's Friday, from coast to coast, the CFL is Canada's game. Well, we're all pumped up to party, and we're ready for a fight. Come on, get back, relax, watch some. It's Friday night football tonight.
This is Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN. Tonight, it's the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Saskatchewan Roughriders from Taylor Field in Regina, Saskatchewan.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Adidas Friday Night Football. James Duffy here, along with the GM and the lineman. You figure out which one is which. Eric Tillman and Chris Schultz. And yes, the playoffs have begun for the Saskatchewan Roughriders anyway. Pretty much from here on in, they have to win or say goodnight. And up until about an hour ago, we thought Reggie Slack would be the starting quarterback, but it looks like now it may be Steve Sarkisian. What does that mean to the Riders, Chris?
Well, I think it means a lot because really Reggie Slack is this football team's MVP for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But with Steve Sarkisian, you have a guy who has a good college football background at BYU, but is unproven as a starter. He has to do three things. Number one, he must stay patient and take what the defense gives him. Number two is he must keep his personal confidence in the ups and downs of a game, and we'll know that early whether he's able to do that. And number three, with his patience, don't turn the ball over and don't be directly responsible for those turnovers. We'll find out very early whether he can handle the starting assignment against a very good Hamilton defense, James.
Now, different situation for the Ticats than for the Riders. Ticats already have their playoff spot, but Eric, they're playing for first place and trying to hold on to it.
Well, James, we've talked about all year how tough it is to win on the road, but this is almost a must-win for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. If they lose tonight, they're in a very dangerous situation because Week 17, they play the Toronto Argonauts, and Week 18, they're at home against Montreal. Again, they've been in first place all year, but a loss tonight would be very, very perilous. There's a fine, fine line between first place and third place, James.
Yeah, and the Tabbies don't want to win one or two games on the road to have to get to that Grey Cup, especially when they've been in first place all year long. Now, with more on the Riders' ever-changing quarterback situation, let's send it out to Rod Smith in Saskatchewan.
Thank you, James, and what a blow to the Saskatchewan Roughriders when Reggie Slack is having the best year of his career. This is when he went down last week against the BC Lions in Vancouver. It was actually the drive before this where he suffered the hip pointer, but he tried to go on the next set of downs, and as you can see, untouched. He goes down himself, just laying the ball to the carpet, and Reggie Slack was done for the rest of the day. Saskatchewan wound up losing a key game to the Lions in that one. You watched him all week. Are you surprised by this last-minute decision?
Well, I'm a little bit surprised. In the first couple of days of the week, he just sat out, and then on Wednesday, he tried it. It didn't feel too badly. He took all the reps on Thursday, and it felt pretty good, and had decided at that point that he would start the football game. But it was always up to Reggie Slack as to whether or not it was okay for him to go, and obviously he's saying it's too painful at this point.
So it will be Steve Sarkisian, and we saw him last week. This is what he's done so far, completing 2/3 of his passes. Pretty good numbers, but he's had a little bit of trouble moving the offense down to score some points. They only had the 14 last week, not enough as they lost to the Lions, although he did have a pretty good game statistically. Is it enough to get this offense moving?
Well, you know, I think the Saskatchewan coaching staff have a ton of confidence in Steve Sarkisian. In fact, he's the future at the quarterback position for this football team. But this will change the defensive strategy for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Sarkisian is the prototypical drop-back passer. Slack, of course, the runner. Now Hamilton's Joe Mumford knows where Sarkisian's going to be. It's going to be right back in that pocket, and you know he'll pin his ears back and go after him tonight.
Yeah, Joe Mumford is having an awesome season for the Ticats, but they have a devastating secondary as well. That's good news for Saskatchewan because it's a banged-up secondary.
It certainly is. Olanda Steinauer will miss his 3rd straight game. Frank West returns to the lineup and will replace him at the halfback position. And the other change will be Eric Carter was injured last week. His knee injury isn't recovered well enough for him to play, so Reggie Love plays at the corner.
James, this is as close as it gets to a must-win situation for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and they'll have to get it without their #1 quarterback. Back to you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. And coming up next, a guy that Steve Sarkisian would love to have in the lineup tonight. Yes, it's a few minutes with Mookie. The record-breaking Daryl Mitchell joins us live next.
Meet Cody, a member of the War Amps Champ program. Cody lost his arm in a machinery accident. Cody knows the world is full of dangers to avoid. He has a message for all kids.
Spot the danger before you play.
Play safe.
The CFL is a proud supporter of the War Amps Play Safe program.
Sunday on Discovery Channel. On the rim of Russia lies a land isolated, almost impenetrable. Uninhabited by man, it is a playground for one of the Earth's last giants. This is the story of two people's extraordinary encounter with the grizzlies of Kamchatka as they live amongst and discover the true nature of the beast. Walking with Grizzlies on Discovery's Sunday Showcase. Sunday on Discovery Channel.
Monday, TSN delivers double coverage. In Ontario, it's the Leafs and the Nashville Predators live from the Gardens. In the rest of the country, it's That's Hockey, a red-hot fight card, and Off the Record. Monday on TSN. A team of destiny. Yankee pride. Destiny's last challenge. The World Series. See it. Live it. TSN.
Second and a bundle. Bell to the end zone for Mitchell. Touchdown! Nothing like the league's leading receiver to get you out of a hole.
And Bell drops back, looks to the end zone. Touchdown! Guess who? Daryl Mitchell with his 4th touchdown catch of the day. One of his vertical threats, Nigel Williams, haven't called his name yet. Here's a pass out to Daryl Mitchell, and there it is. Catch number 127, a CFL record.
Yes, it is the most overused phrase in sports this season. Complete to Mitchell. Daryl, you've only been in the league not even 2 years yet, and you've broken a record. You've caught more passes in a season than any guy in any league. Have you come to grips with what an accomplishment this is yet?
No, I really haven't. You know, I sit at home sometimes with my roommate, which is Willie Williams, you know, offensive tackle on the team, and he teases me a lot about the record or whatever, but I mean, it really hasn't dawned on me yet because my main focus is just trying to help us win these final games and have a nice playoff and hopefully go back to the Grey Cup.
Daryl, was it a stress because there was so much publicity around it? Because sometimes when you're on the verge of doing some great things, it can take away your focus. Were you glad when it was finally over and you could concentrate even more on winning?
Yeah, I was real glad when it was over. I mean, like you said, it was a lot of stress on me because when I would blank it out and try to get focused on the game, I would do interviews with reporters, and I mean, that would be the first question, how you feel about the records or whatever. So, I mean, I guess it was real hard trying to stay real focused because, like I say, you know, it was either the guys bringing up the records or it was reporters and media people.
Mookie, a lot of people don't realize that you're actually playing a new position this year, the T-spot, where pinball played last year. Obviously, in the T-spot, you're the inside receiver in trips and quads. Talk about that position and how it's allowed you to get so many balls and how different your role is playing T as opposed to slot.
The T position is a position on our offense, which is the inside receiver, and that receiver, his main route is just between 5 and 10 yards. And as you saw, seen last year, that pinball caught 122 balls in that position, and Coach Jenkins, he's just designed a couple of plays for me, and it allowed me to catch more passes.
Daryl, what surprised me is how quickly you came into the league and the success that you had. Talk a little bit about John Jenkins and how he has helped you in terms of matching you up and trying to get you into open space, which allows you to use your athletic ability and gain yards, because he must have been an influence.
Yeah, Coach Jenkins, he's a real big influence. During the week, each week he sits me down and we watch a little film about, on different defenses and defensive backs that I would face each week, and he would design plays, just for the way that defensive back plays his certain types of technique. And we would go out and practice. We would rep it. If he liked it, he would keep it in, and he would just, tell Kerwin, okay, I like this. Let's stick with this.
Daryl, you have two of the best coaches in the league, obviously, on the offensive side of the ball, and John Jenkins and Jim Barker. But you lost a pretty good quarterback in the offseason, too, and Doug Flutie. Talk about this offense and how it's changed with the addition of Kerwin Bell, some of the things that you're doing differently.
It changed a lot because with Doug was more of just, he was an underneath passer. He would make the deep passes, but he would only throw the deep passes when we needed that momentum swing. The difference with Kerwin is he's coming out the blocks throwing the ball vertical, which makes it easier on the receivers, because it allows the defensive backs to play honest.
Open six up underneath?
Yes.
Now, I want to know, when your name goes in the record book, does Tillman's go in brackets? Because he's the one who brought you here, right?
Oh, yeah. Eric gets he gets a good pat on the back for that, and every time I see Eric, I just congratulate him and thank him for having me here.
Now, can you do what you did to Montreal once again back-to-back this weekend?
I can, but it's not going to be easy. It's hard with the back-to-back games. I'm sure they're a little fired up about what happened last week down in McGill. But our main focus is just coming to this game. Kerwin, he's going to throw me the ball, and I just have to make the best of it.
All right, well, thank you and congratulations. And congratulations to Tillman and Schultz, who have covered Mitchell better than anybody all year. They have blanketed him now for 4 minutes, and that is quite a feat. All right, lots more to come on the pregame show. Up next, a profile of another guy who's having a pretty good year, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Mike Saunders. We'll be back.
Now the Tex-Mex McWraps are at McDonald's. People are extremely inspired. Get a taste of Tex-Mex right here in Canada with Tex-Mex McWraps, a delicious new McWrap taste with fresh toppings. Seasoned chicken, Tex-Mex sauce, and sun-dried tomato dressing. But you better hurry in. They won't be here long.
Hey, Romeo, you're Juliet. She lives next door.
TSN Sports Desk with Darren DeTisha.
TSN's own unique brand of hockey magazine gets to the heart of the front page story. Gord Miller heads up the season. That's hockey, exclusively on TSN.
Up Close is brought to you by Adidas, the official sponsor of the CFL.
Black has his target right over the middle. Mike Saunders breaks one, breaks two, and he's gone, folks.
Yeah, it is gratifying. As a running back in this league or in any league, it's hard to play a full 18 games. There's just too much abuse the body takes. But this year, it really felt good. I felt like I've been able to come back and play better than I have in the last couple of years. as good a football city as you'll find in North America, and you know, I'm happy to be back there. You know, I would never say leaving was a terrible idea because I got to, you know, be places that I would never otherwise have been. So, you know, they were neat experiences, but I'm happy to be back in Saskatchewan and get to finish my career there.
The handoff. Saunders finds a hole outside. Across the 20, Mike Saunders taken down at the 15 BC.
People ask me, well, your rushing numbers are a little down. Well, you know, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for the greater good.
Over the middle. Touchdown, Saskatchewan. Mike Saunders.
Up Close is brought to you by Adidas, the official sponsor of the CFL.
Mike Saunders, one of the nicest guys in the league, and he's having one terrific season. And, you know, coming into this year, one team was the reigning champ, the other was considered the heir apparent. And now they are neck and neck for second place in the East. Tomorrow, rematch, Argos, Als. Here's a preview.
Priority number one is really to stop Pringle. I think we did a good job in key situations to stop Pringle. He's going to get his yards, but when it counted most, we stopped him. He got a couple of big runs. Climbing Armstrong, yeah, most of definitely their keys and stuff. The whole offensive package is real good.
The prognosis is cheerleader for tomorrow's game. Yeah, I'll be rah-rahing it on the sideline. I'll be the biggest fan there, but won't be able to dress this week.
Ham and Cavilo will decide tomorrow. Ham has taken a lot more snaps this week. It really didn't matter which one was in last week.
We need to not get back on track. We need to get on some type of track to where our team is winning ball games. Like Petey said, we missed some opportunities to take sole possession of first place, and you know, we don't need any outside distractions, any individual goals or anything like that. We just need to come together as a team and put some wins together.
Yes, and here are all our games this weekend. Montreal and Toronto, that one is on CBC tomorrow. We've got BC and Edmonton Sunday afternoon, and also Winnipeg and Calgary as Calgary tries to solidify their spot on top of the West on Sunday afternoon. Let's talk more about that Als-Argos game. I like Pinball's comment on the cheerleader. I want to see him with the pom-poms tomorrow. Now, he will be out. Tony Smith will replace him, but Eric, the Als have some injury problems of their own.
Well, James, it's tough to play 2 games in 5 days. In fact, it's almost physically impossible. You just don't have time to recover from the injuries. And Montreal has some serious injury problems in the secondary. Both of their corners got hurt last week, Kraft and Smith. Their halfback, Baron Miles, a lot of people are talking about him possibly being Rookie of the Year. He didn't practice at all this week. And safety Tommy Europe, as good a safety as there is in the Canadian Football League, is out of the game. It's a tough time to have injury problems in your secondary when you're playing the pass-happy Toronto Argonauts. Montreal's a team that's got a mental toughness and a physical toughness, but they're hurting in a key position, Chris.
They really are, and when you look at the big picture, the Montreal Alouettes have not had much success in the Sky Dome. They are 0 for 6. Toronto has owned the Montreal Alouettes in the Sky Dome. There's no doubt about it, and I think as long as Kerwin Bell is willing to sit in that pocket and take those shots and play with his amount of courage that he does, he's going to get rid of the ball, and he's going to make yardage in big chunks. I think the key for Montreal, don't get behind in the first quarter, don't get behind in the first half, because if that team is down 10-7, they are not the best at coming from behind, and the Argonauts know that. I think they're going to come out winging and gunning and throwing downfield and getting points, because they can win that game early.
All right, now that we are done gazing into the future, let's take a look into the past. Here is our Friday night flashback.
Friday night flashback.
On August 8, 1997, Jim Daly's Saskatchewan Roughriders visited Steeltown to face Don Southern and the 1-5 Hamilton Tiger Cats. And it's the Roughies that strike first, with Reggie Slack taking it in himself from 8 yards out. It was quickly 7-0 Saskatchewan. Later in the quarter, Slack will get hit late by Rob Hitchcock and ends up running right into Cal Murphy on the sidelines. Unfortunately, Cal left the game for the hospital. Still in the first half, Slack will find Curtis Mayfield. He will haul it in and scamper 86 yards for the major. Saskatchewan led 21-5 at halftime. Second half, guess who's back? Cal Murphy returns to the sidelines after getting a fitted cast for his arm at the hospital. Tough to keep this guy down. Late in the game, the Tiger Cats' Frank West will recover a Robert Mims fumble and return it 40 yards for the major. But it was too little, too late. As Don Southern's Tiger Cats remain winless at home, Jim Daly's Roughriders win it 30-20 on Friday Night Football from Hamilton.
Friday Night Flashback.
Our CIAU Top 10 Western on top for the second straight week. Saskatchewan continues to climb towards #1. Mount A goes down. St. Mary's moves up after the Huskies beat the Mounties 32-4 last weekend. And our match to catch, GG Scales at Queens, a rematch of last week when Ottawa won 47-30. Ottawa's Phil Cote is the hottest QB in the CIAU. And our match to catch is brought to you by Chevy Cavalier. Tried, tested, and true. And another guy who is tried, tested, and true is our own Marty York. From the Globe and Mail, here is his at-large segment.
At Large with Marty York.
We told you a few weeks ago here that legendary punter Hank Ilissa could be coming back to the CFL after 3 years in retirement. Well, it's happening. Don't be surprised if you see Ilissa in a BC uniform when the Lions visit the Eskimos in Edmonton on Sunday. But Hank will not be punting. That job will still belong to Louis Pasaglia, who will continue to handle the place kicking as well. Ilissa will be used exclusively as a kickoff specialist. BC coach Greg Mons told me Pasaglia wasn't getting enough distance and hang time on his kickoffs. He said Louis agreed that at 44, his legs should be safe for punts and field goals. Now, Ilissa is no spring chicken himself. He's 39, and he spent the past 3 years running a marketing firm that he owns in Mississauga. His only team sport has been slow-pitch softball. But when the Lions asked him to work out for them yesterday, he dazzled them with kickoffs that hung in the air for an average of 4 seconds. Ilissa will be the first player since Hall of Famer Jackie Parker in 1968 to come back to the CFL after 3 years of inactivity. Hank should help the Lions. No player in CFL history, after all, has more Grey Cup rings. He has 7, and with the way the Lions have been playing lately, there's no reason to suggest that it can't be 8. Another former Argo kicker is garnering Rookie of the Year attention for his early season performances in the NFL. Mike Vanderjagt is 14 for 15 on field goal attempts and has accounted for the good majority of the Indianapolis Colts scoring. The Oakville native told me he still thinks fondly of the CFL and may eventually return to the league, which he led in scoring last year. Vanderjagt hasn't forgotten his CFL friends either. In fact, he pays tribute to his former Argo teammate Norm Casola by wearing his number on his shoulder pads. Casola, of course, recently passed away because of cancer. Vanderjagt said he actually thinks of Casola on the field every time he lines up for a field goal attempt. Now, Montreal general manager Jim Popp has reportedly caught the interest of the new Cleveland Browns in the NFL, but he would like to remain with the Alouettes, and he told me he's slowly getting closer to a new contract with club president Larry Smith. Popp has also been thinking about signing American kicker Carlos Huerta for the Owls because of Terry Baker's inconsistency. And once Popp is re-signed, he will attempt to re-sign his coach, Dave Ritchie, although I hear Ritchie could end up in Winnipeg next season with the Bombers' new GM, who may well be Eric Tillman. Now, Popp also is determined to re-sign a star running back, Mike Pringle. Pringle is 31, but Popp thinks Pringle is in such phenomenal shape that he could play until he's 40. How does Pringle stay in such good shape? In the off-season, he works as a personal trainer. For Adidas Friday Night Football, I'm Marty York. I'll catch you again next week.
All right, now let's get back to that kicking situation. I know, Mr. Tillman, you have pretty strong feelings on the Montreal situation with Terry Baker.
Well, James, how many big kicks does Terry Baker have to miss before the Montreal Alouettes make a change? You know, it is past time to see Carlos Huerta. If you look back last year to the Eastern Division Finals, Terry Baker missed 2 field goals in the 4th quarter. If he makes those kicks, the Montreal Alouettes are playing in the Grey Cup instead of the Toronto Argonauts. A couple weeks ago, in a critical game in overtime, Montreal drives down the field at the end of the game, runs a play to get the ball in the middle of the field. Terry Baker misses a 37-yard field goal. That half game could really cost Montreal. Could even cost them home field advantage in the playoffs. Last week, a big game against the Argonauts, he misses 4 field goals. 4 field goals. It's just something that can't continue to happen. Now, my partner here, Chris Schultz, played in the National Football League for 4 years for the Dallas Cowboys. You spent 8 years with the Toronto Argonauts. You've seen a lot. As a former player, tell me, how much does it take out of you mentally when the kicker goes out there and continues to miss.
It takes a lot out of you mentally because you have to remember what kickers do. It's a singular skill. That's all they do is kick the football. They don't even practice. They don't hit anybody. Yes, I know it's a little bit to the left of the hash and it's a little bit to the right hash. Sometimes they even have to kick it a long distance. But when you're going 5, 10, 15 plays, your kicker goes in there and he misses it to the right or the left. You don't want to pat him on the back and say, oh, we'll try it again. That's A-okay. It is not okay. They expect kickers to hit 75% plus. The players expect kickers to hit 85%, 90, because all they do is kick. And it drives the real players nuts because all we do is hit each other and get injured. It's a complete ostracization, so to speak, of the kickers in that they're put on a little pedestal only for small moments of time. If they don't do their job, the other players are upset.
Okay, so don't hedge on this. You like kickers or you don't like kickers?
I think he said real football players.
You know, it's funny because I was talking to a few kickers last week and they were saying, offensive linemen, the most singular position is all they do is block, block, block. They're useless to the team. Let's check out our starting quarterbacks for this game. That is brought to you by Air Miles Rewards Program. Some of the best rewards are close to home. And yes, for now, it is Steve Sarkisian, although we may see Reggie Slack tonight. We are not sure. And, of course, Danny McManus, as always for the Ticats, having an MVP-type season in Hamilton. We'll be back.
Your favorite CFL team now has their logo on your favorite credit card. It's the CFL MasterCard credit card. Support your team and take advantage of the benefits that over 346 million MasterCard cardholders worldwide are enjoying. Each stylized card has your team's logo on it. So support your team 12 months a year and pull out your card. Call 1-877-4CFL now for your CFL MasterCard credit card. When you pay with us, you play with us.
Well, anytime's great football, but not when it feels just right. We're gonna kick back, relax, watching football on a Friday night. It's Friday, and we're gonna be hard to take. It's Friday, from coast to coast, the CFL is Canada's game. Well, we're all pumped up to party, and we're ready for a fight. Come on, get back, relax, watch some Friday night football. Boys, it's too bad when a CFL football game is up for grabs. It's Friday night football tonight.
This is Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN. Tonight, it's the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Saskatchewan Roughriders from Taylor Field in Regina, Saskatchewan.
Hey, everybody. Welcome once again to Adidas Friday Night Football. Glad you're starting your weekend with us, Duthie, Tillman, and Schultz. And we've got a good one for you, a game with major playoff implications. The Hamilton Tiger Cats looking to get first place in the East, or at least solidify their position there. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are playing for their playoff lives. They pretty much have to win every game down the stretch to have a chance to get in. Now, Steve Sarkisian, it looks like will be the starter for Saskatchewan. Chris, are there any holes in the Hamilton defense he could use?
I think so. I think what you have to do if you're Steve Sarkisian is look at the secondary of Hamilton and the injuries they have there. Eric Carter and Orlando Steinhauer will not play. So if I'm the quarterback on this team, I'm going to first pick on the cornerbacks. I'm going to pick on really Greer, and I'm going to pick on the young kid, Reggie Love, because he overreacts and underreacts to certain patterns, and I think that's what they have to do. At least one time in a quarter, they've got to go deep, get the ball to Curtis Mayfield, get the ball to Narcisse, get the ball to Larry Thompson. Guys who can go all the way on a really quick, easy post pattern route. If they can do that 2 or 3 times, they can win the game. You always look for weaknesses in defense. Sometimes it's the defensive line, sometimes it's linebackers. For Hamilton, it's the secondary. They have adjusted well, but those are the two I take advantage of, Eric.
Well, Chris, last week, Hamilton's problem was not the secondary, it was up front.
Right.
And they changed the ratio this week because last week, Calgary just changed their offensive plan, ran the football down their throat with Kelvin Anderson. Tonight, Ron Lancaster added an American offensive lineman with Floyd, with Whitehead and Montford. They have 3 of the best defensive linemen in the league. And with a young quarterback like Steve Sarkisian, what they're going to try to do is take Mike Saunders out of the game and force him to throw the football against that secondary. I think they have a little more confidence in the secondary than you do, Chris, but it's going to be fun to watch because, you know, it's a game of matchups. Hamilton is a little weak in the secondary tonight because of injuries, but they've got a good front, and they're going to try to put a lot of pressure on Sarkisian.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We will hear from you again at the end of the first quarter. Technically, it's first place in the East versus last place in the West. The Roughriders never play like a last-place team at home. Danny McManus getting ready to take on the Gang Green. Kickoff is next.
Adidas. Friday Night Football on TSN is brought to you by Adidas, the official sponsor of the CFL. And by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks and good friends, see you tonight.
Welcome to Taylor Field in Regina. Rod Smith and Glenn Sitter and Adidas Friday Night Football. And a critical game, especially for the home team. They've come out in droves to see it on a chilly night here in Regina. Chilly for football anyway. We're definitely moving into the fall with 1 degree Celsius and winds of 20 kilometers per hour from the north that could be increasing over the course of the night.
Ron Lancaster turned 60 years old on Wednesday. He's already got the Ticats 10 wins in the win column, but with Montreal and Toronto at 9 wins, tonight becomes very, very important for his football team.
A legendary figure in these parts, of course, and Jim Daly in his 3rd season, another frustrating one for Daly, and he needs a win tonight to better the chance at least of staying alive. A loss for Daly's Roughriders combined with a BC win over Edmonton on Sunday at Commonwealth Stadium, and that would be it for Daly and Saskatchewan. They would be mathematically eliminated. Reggie Slack, he is not going to be getting the start. He is still suited up, but the hip pointer close to game time, Glenn, just not cooperating.
Well, it's tough with a hip pointer because it can tighten up on you in a hurry. It's a bruise, and if with this cold weather here in Taylor Field, what likely happened to Reggie Slack is he got out there, it tightened up, and he just made the decision that if he were to try and play in this football game, unless forced to by emergency, he would hurt the team more than help. So he said he'll hand the ball over to Steve Sarkisian.
And he had been having statistically his finest year in his 6th in the CFL. Paul McCallum. The kickers could be front and center tonight because of the wind, as mentioned before. Currently blowing across, but that could change. And because of it, Saskatchewan winning the toss deferred the choice to the second half. Obviously, Glenn, thinking of the win.
Yeah, they want to have the choice in the second half in case they need to win in the 4th.
And the kickoff is made into that win. McCallum getting this game underway right up the middle. The Ticats, Archie Amerson on the return, gets it up across the 40-yard line where Danny McManus and the Ticat offense will go to work. McManus, rated number 3 in the CFL, has some good targets, of course. His old reliable Darren Flutie, who played with him in BC and in Edmonton as well. And up front, that offensive line anchored by the veteran Carl Coulter at center and Val St. Germain and Seth Dithman at the left tackle spot, along with Chris Burns and Dave Hack. The game is underway. First drive for the Hamilton Tiger Cats at their 44. And the handoff right away to Ronald Williams, picking up about 3 yards on the play.
Defensively for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, up front, led by Dwayne Patterson, who has 8 sacks in the year. We'll watch his matchup with Seth Dithman. Dan Rasevich starts in the middle. If he goes out, that means that Vincent Donaldson will come in at the extra position in the defensive backfield. In the secondary, Mario Smith becoming an impact player at the safety position, and Tyrell Ulmer and Shannon Garrett will have their hands full with Darren Flutie.
Second down, call it 5. McManus to throw, over the middle, nearly intercepted. It went off the hand of Archie Amerson and falls incomplete.
Danny McManus wants to get a good start to this football game after the offensive performance Hamilton put together last week versus the Calgary Stampeders. He said we have to control time of possession. It's very important to give our defense lots of rest.
And a very productive year again. In fact, first in the CFL in passing yards. And with Danny McManus, you see the two numbers at the end. Touchdowns, interceptions. They always seem to be close together, and they always seem to be high. And it has worked in his favor in other years in Edmonton and in BC. He makes mistakes, but he throws a lot of passes for touchdowns. The punt by Paul Balderson is taken down inside the 30, but a good run back by Tyrell Ulmer. Still on his feet and getting it up across the 45-yard line. Offensively for Saskatchewan, Steve Sarkisian in at quarterback, getting his first start this year, although he's played in a couple of other games and was 15 of 23 last week against BC. And good offensive line up front. James Monroe at center, Mikowski, Comiskey, Fairbrother, and Terry, the tackles. And there you see his numbers overall. Not too bad at all if you can complete 2 out of every 3. But one touchdown pass, that was to Mike Saunders when he filled in last week, and Saunders has the football and a big gain up across midfield. A first down, Saskatchewan on their first play.
Well, the Hamilton defense led up front by, of course, Joe Mumford. We'll talk about him likely quite a bit tonight. Number 53, already 20 sacks on the year. Calvin Tager, one of the best run stoppers in the league at the middle linebacker position. And in the secondary, we talked about the changes. Reggie Love will start for Eric Carter on the corner, and Frank West gets to start for Orlando Steinauer.
1st and 10, Saskatchewan. After the Saunders first down, and Sarkisian will throw. And throw deep, wide open. Larry Thompson, and he trips up inside the 15-yard line. Had he kept his feet, he had a chance to score.
Steve Sarkisian saw a mistake in the secondary that has to be put together because of injuries for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Hamilton wants to play a zone coverage, but Reggie Love jumps the flat route and is not deep. That's why Larry Thompson is so wide open. You see number 4, Love, trying to catch up and make up for his mistake. He jumped the short pattern. He's supposed to be deep in the coverage. Larry Thompson saw it, got him behind him, and Sarkisian hit him on the money.
And just couldn't keep his feet, but gets it down to the 12-yard line of Hamilton. Saunders with the football, running again, and gets inside the 10, down to about the 7-yard line.
This team has a tremendous amount of confidence in Steve Sarkisian. It's a quarterback that we talked about how well he did in college, breaking Steve Young's record at Brigham Young University. I mean, this is a guy who 1 year in college threw for over 4,000 yards and 33 touchdowns. And that's with a lot of people in the stands and then a lot of pressure. He can get it done with the pressure on him.
And I'm sure the Ticat defense had to prepare for him as well as Reggie Slack, knowing the injury circumstances. The hip pointer to Slack preventing him from getting the start tonight. 2nd down, 6 to go. Saunders again inside the 5. Touchdown, Saskatchewan. The Riders needed to make a statement early, and they've done that.
And you know what, Rod? They needed to get the 13th player behind them right out of the gate, and they've done that. The crowd here at Taylor Field is pumped up. A great drive to start the game for Saskatchewan, and now you have that 13th player on your side if you're the home team.
Saunders had the first touchdown in the game last week in BC. Saskatchewan had the lead on the Lions. And McCallum makes this one over the Ticats, a 7-pointer. Good start for the green and white. On their first drive, they take it in. And here it is, Saunders with the touchdown on Adidas Friday Night Football. The scoring drive is brought to you by Chrysler Canada. We're not just building cars and trucks, we're building Canada. Saskatchewan hoping to build a lead. They got on the board first, a 4-play, 64 yards for the Saunders touchdown.
Yeah, Saunders a big part of that drive, running the football, scored the touchdown, of course, the Larry Thompson catch, the key play.
And so for the second time in this early game, McCallum kicks off. A short kick once again, fumble. And the Ticats have it back. That was Ronald Williams on the return.
Well, Larry Thompson, in a hurry, took advantage of the secondary put together, got in behind Reggie Love, who made a mistake and dropped the zone coverage, and Sarkisian, who's one of his fortes is reading the defense. Read it perfectly there, found Larry Thompson. That set up the big Mike Saunders touchdown, and he was a key part in that drive. Carried the ball 3 times for 24 yards in the opening drive and scored that 1 touchdown there.
Such a great weapon, catching the football, running the football. And he's got Saskatchewan an early lead. Amerson has the football. The pass to the sideline and a good gain of that first play of the drive from Danny McManus to Archie Amerson. It'll be 2nd and short, Hamilton.
When I talk about key people in your offense, Archie Amerson is the key for the Hamilton Tiger Cats in a lot of ways. 10 out of 15 games that Archie Amerson has started for Hamilton, he's had a play or at least one or two over 30 yards. He is a big play guy for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They need to get him the football as often as they can.
And a gain of 8 yards to set up 2nd and 2 from the Tiger Cat 43. Hamilton trailing early in this game by 7. McManus rolls out to his right, finds a man, complete. Andrew Gregg, and a first down for the Tiger Cats.
Well, Danny McManus went the wrong way, or Ron Williams went the wrong way, but the play-action pass didn't quite work out. But they had lived on the fly, and they made it work. Watch Danny McManus turn around here. He wants to do the play action. Well, Ron Williams had gone the other way. So they just sort of picked it up, little sand lot, and credit to Andrew Gregg, who stuck with the pattern, worked to the outside, and caught this one, kept his feet in bounds.
He's having a great season coming into the game. 757 yards receiving for the Cats. Product of the Sault Ste. Marie Juniors. Out of the shotgun. McManus on first down under pressure. And he looks for Gregg again, and that time it's incomplete. And a flag is down back towards the line of scrimmage.
Paul Spicer, I believe, is also down and injured on the play. Pretty decent protection for Hamilton up front on the play, but
holding. Hamilton 64. First down repeated.
Well, it's good protection because they were doing a little cheating. Seth Dittman up there got caught.
The big tackle, product of Stanford.
He's right up on the top of your screen here, working on Paul Spicer, who's still down on the play, and you can see that left arm is right around the throat of Spicer. Spicer hasn't got up off the turf. They're probably trying to find his Adam's apple. Seth Dittman punched it right back into his throat.
Pretty blatant holding, and yeah, it's amazing when a line is coming how the protection improves a little bit when you're allowed to put those hands outside.
Well, you know, it is a battle in the trenches, no question about it. One of the things and one of the big concerns for Ron Lancaster coming into this game was penalties. The last couple of games, the Hamilton Tiger Cats have got into double figures in penalties and always at the worst possible time. So it's something that Ron Lancaster addressed to the team this week during the work week. I think for the Ticats to win this game, they're going to have to run the football. That's an incredible stat. They are undefeated when they rush for over 100 yards. They're going to have to get after Sarkisian. They know where he will be. They already have 46 sacks on the year, and we just talked about the penalty situation. Last week, 19 penalties for over 200 yards. They got to cut that out.
Paul Spicer coming off the field and seems to be okay. Took the hand of Seth Dittman around the throat area. You look at Lancaster again and his team facing a 1st and 20 after the holding penalty to Dittman. And Danny McManus will operate out of the shotgun again with 3 to the left and 2 to the right. Has time, has Amerson. Over coverage, and he has it. Archie Amerson with a big first down for the Ticats inside the Saskatchewan 45.
It's a big play for Hamilton for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, you pick up the big yardage and the field position, but you convert when you're looking at first down and a long way to go. Archie Amerson, we talked about him making big plays. Well, he gets in behind Vincent Donaldson, who really is a defensive back and a corner. He's known for his coverage ability, so you know Archie Amerson must have ran a good pattern to get in behind Donaldson.
So they get all that yardage back and then some after the holding penalty, and on first down they run the football for short yardage. Ronald Williams with the ball.
Ron Lancaster was very complimentary towards Ronald Williams, not because of his running ability, that's well documented, but because of the fact that he doesn't speak up about having to play the fullback position. Tailbacks hate that. You know, they like, every running back likes to see the football, but Ron Williams has been asked to do a whole lot of blocking in this offense, and Ron Lancaster said, you know what, he hasn't complained once.
He had a better year statistically with Winnipeg last year, but Much better record for the team he's on this year. And the Ticats on the move. Mike Morreale with his first catch of the day, and it's another Ticat first down close to the 20-yard line.
When you play zone defense, you have to get depth out of your drops from the linebacker position. And the Saskatchewan linebackers don't get much depth. Danny McManus can throw that one in behind. The linebackers have got too tight to the line of scrimmage, probably worried about Ron Williams. So it has to be the safety, Mario Smith, to come from the deep coverage to make the tackle.
He needs only 29 yards coming into this game to reach 1,000 on the year. McManus throwing again into the end zone. Morreale couldn't hang on. And he's probably upset with the coverage of Shannon Garrett, which was very, very close, but it's incomplete.
Well, Morreale wanted the call on screening for Shannon Garrett because he really didn't look back. You're going to see the very end of the play, and Shannon Garrett takes a little bit of a peek, and that is just enough to not get the screening call, and then, of course, he rips it out of the hands of Mike Morreale. So I think it's a good no call. Here's the play again. He does look back to the ball, and as Morreale has his hands on it, he rips it out of there.
On second down, Ticats with the ball on the Saskatchewan 22-yard line. Trailing by 7, but on the move now. They run the draw to Williams. Tries the left side, gets around Gary Rogers. Tripped up close to first down yardage. This will be very close. He gets down to about the 12 or 13-yard line.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Ron Lancaster does if it's short, but it's a really well-executed play. Gary Rogers, number 41, to the right of your screen, is going to get blocked at the point of attack and can't get to the outside. He loses his pursuit angle, and that gets Ron Williams a little more yardage to the sideline, and then he hurdles the last tackler for a couple of extra yards.
And they actually mark it inside the 11, so easily a first down for Hamilton. Big play on 2nd and 10 as they get closer to pay dirt. They fake the handoff to Williams. McManus rolling to his right. End zone for Darren Flutie off the fingertips. It'll be second down.
This will be a matchup that we will watch closely throughout this football game. Darren Flutie on Tyrell Ulmer. A little play action is going to start it out. When you're having success running with Ron Williams, why not fake it to him and hold those linebackers? And then this is the end of the play. Darren Flutie almost coming up with this at the back of the end zone. Tyrell Ulmer called him up and was covering him for most of it, but that matchup will get interesting as this game progresses.
2 plays ago in this situation, the Ticats ran the ball. It'll be interesting to see what they decide to do now with the ball just barely outside the 10. They're going to throw. McManus. End zone again. Bobbled and dropped. Knocked away nicely by Shannon Garrett. And the Ticats will have to go for the field goal.
Well, you got to credit Shannon Garrett for the strip, but Mike Morreale, a lot of Danny McManus will go and talk to him about it right now because a lot of receivers have a problem with this. When he comes into the middle, he's going to stay on the same line in this pass pattern. What he's got to do is take a step back towards the football. If he comes back towards the football, he'll cut off Shannon Garrett. He doesn't do it. He stays deep, and Garrett is allowed to strip that one out of there.
It's a 17-yard field goal attempt for Paul Osbaldiston. And he pops it through. So the Ticats, so close to a touchdown, at least put 3 on the board and cut Saskatchewan's lead to 4 on Adidas Friday Night Football. Back at Taylor Field as Jim Daly looks on. What are the keys for his team tonight, Glenn?
Well, I think he has to do 3 things. Improve tackling. You can see they're the worst against the run, and last week they had trouble on special teams and defensively. Saunders has to get the ball. Quite simply, if he touches it 15 to 20 and gets 100 yards, they win. And they have to find someone to make big plays. Larry Thompson has already made one here tonight.
And Saunders has got the football, but first, Curtis Mayfield. Big return. Mayfield's going, gone. 93 yards. Touchdown Riders.
They've got him on their feet here in Taylor Field. We just got finished talking about one of the keys for the Saskatchewan Roughriders is someone has to come up with some big plays. Larry Thompson in the first series, and now Curtis Mayfield right off the kickoff takes it all the way back for 6.
And on a chilly night at Taylor Field, The home team is doing its best to warm up the crowd in a hurry. In the first quarter, they have 2 majors on the board as McCallum converts the Curtis Mayfield touchdown on the kickoff return.
Well, it was well blocked. I mean, special teams is a team effort. Watch the blocks in the hole that Curtis Mayfield has to run through. You don't even see a Hamilton Tiger Cat jersey at the point of attack, and then it's a foot race, and Mayfield, one of the quickest in the business, and he wins it easily, going all the way for the major.
Mayfield had a big return last week against BC, but that was called back because of a penalty.
Just a huge lane for Mayfield to run through. I mean, he isn't touched. There's no one that gets within about 4 yards of Curtis Mayfield.
And that from a player who hasn't enjoyed a great second half after an outstanding first half of the season in terms of receiving yardage. But that on special teams, a big play as he catches a breather, much deserved on that Saskatchewan bench. The Riders increasing their lead now to 14-3. And Paul McCallum, for the 3rd time in this game, will kick off into that breeze. It's been harder to get him deep. Archie Emerson takes it at his 20. He accelerates up the middle and is taken down close to the Hamilton 40-yard line on the return. Ron Lancaster's Ticats have won only once in their last 4 games. They have a tie and a win in there with 2 losses. But yes, as Eric Tillman talked about in our pregame show, this is a concern, the way the Tiger Cats have been playing lately.
Well, he wants to get more production out of his offense. That was the problem. We talked about the penalty situation they faced the last couple of weeks, and now he all of a sudden has a glaring problem on his coverage teams, special teams. So he's going to have to look at that at least at halftime, try and make an adjustment for the second half.
It's been a great year for the Ticats, but they can by no means afford to be charitable tonight. Well, they're in a race with 2 other teams in the East, the Argonauts and the Alouettes. Things have been tightening up there. McManus to Amerson again. Takes it across the 45 and gets up near a first down for Hamilton. Talk about a versatile running back who can catch it and run with it as well. That's Archie Amerson in 1998.
Well, he's racked up about over 1,200 yards when you throw in his rushing totals and his pass receiving totals, and he really has been a consistent performer game in and game out in his second year. Started out real well, had a couple of injuries in his rookie season, but has bounced back and having a tremendous year for Hamilton.
It is 2nd and 1, so they hand off to Ronald Williams, who busts his way up. He gets the first down and a whole lot more near midfield. The sticks will move for the Tiger Cats.
Well, Jim Daly, when you think about what he was facing here tonight, really must-win situation for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and then he finds out just before game time that his starting quarterback will not be able to play. You know the pressure is on his shoulders, so when he watches Curtis Mayfield take off and run in for 6 points on a kickoff return, that's a pretty nice way to start if you're a head coach with that much pressure on you.
And the first downs, the Ticats have been able to move the football, but definitely behind on the scoreboard is McManus to throw again. Sets, looks deep over the middle, through the hands of Flutie. Incomplete. That would have been a very big play for the Tiger Cats.
Well, it's really uncharacteristic of Darren Flutie to drop that pass because it was the perfect read. Mario Smith, the safety, got caught up short in the coverage, so Danny McManus recognized it, and he knew that that would be the conversion that his #1 target would go to. When there's no safety, you go right to the hole in the middle. Darren Flutie was in behind Tyrell Ulmer, but couldn't come up with the catch. Mario Smith got caught a little short that time. He's an aggressive safety, likes to make big hits. That time, got a little anxious and stepped up.
Out of the shotgun, McManus to work again over the middle into deep coverage, and yet he completes it. It's a first down. Ticats up around the 40-yard line.
It's a progression of the same play. What happened in the first one is when Darren Flutie saw that Mario Smith, you see 22 to the corner of your screen there. When he saw him on the last play real shallow, he went deep. That time Mario Smith stayed deep, so Flutie broke it off short. Mario Smith comes up and puts the hit on him.
A gain of 16 yards, and if you look at Darren Flutie, Mario Smith involved in those plays. Smith, an ex-Hamilton Tiger Cat, was on the practice roster and now getting a chance with Saskatchewan. And a big run up the middle there for Ronald Williams, a big hole. The ball comes loose after the play, though. It is still Tiger Cat football and close to another first down.
Well, if you want to talk about the tackling ability of Mario Smith, look no further than this play, because this hole is huge. You're going to see Mario Smith have to come up and make the tackle on Ron Williams, because watch the hole that Williams gets. He busts through that line on the counter play. He'll come right back to the other side. Now watch this. Open field, one-on-one. Mario Smith puts his head in there, cuts down Ronald Williams.
He's a big hitter. It's second and short. They've got him wrapped up. Paul Spicer on Ronald Williams, and they'll lose yardage. There was a 2nd and 1. It'll be longer than that on 3rd down now.
When you have to turn around and hand the ball off on short yardage, you take a gamble that penetration will ruin the play. Archie Amerson, first of all, is in a mismatch size-wise, but never ever did get in position to get in front of Spicer. He gets in the backfield, and Ron Williams has no chance.
The newest addition to that Saskatchewan defensive front, playing in just his 4th game. Paul Spicer with a big play to force a 3rd down and make it no loss yardage, but it's still a 3rd and 1, and a big gutsy call for Ron Lancaster early in this game.
He wants to get some momentum, Rod.
They hand off, big jump by Williams, and I believe he's got it up over the 30-yard line. So the gutsy call paying off for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and this drive will continue.
Well, it is a huge gamble, first of all. I mean, no question about that. You talked about Ron Lancaster's decision, but this is an even bigger gamble from Ron Williams. When you leave your feet, you are taking a gamble that you can get up and over the pile. If you don't get over the pile, you lose all power and you're going to get stopped. The gamble pays off both for Ron Lancaster and for Ronald Williams.
Last time the Tiger Cats had a drive this deep, earlier on, they got down to the 10-yard line, but had to settle for a field goal. Getting deeper again. What a great catch. Bobby Olive. Nope, they're saying no. Looked like a great catch for Bobby Olive with Todd McMillan on the coverage.
Well, Todd McMillan has to make some big plays tonight because he knows Archie Amerson is going to, and he, of course, was teammates with Amerson in Northern Arizona, but that time Todd McMillan cuts right underneath the intended receiver and knocks that one away. Bobby Olive really never got his hands on it.
And so 2nd down and 10 out of the shotgun again for McManus. Looking for the end zone. A flag is down, intended for Andrew Gregg. It'll be interference against Saskatchewan.
Oh.
And they're coming out to argue it, too. Eric Sutton, number 13, was the man on the coverage, and he is being called for the interference.
Well, Andrew Gregg went down before the ball got there. It was tough to tell whether or not Eric Sutton, from our vantage point, grabbed on or pushed Andrew Gregg on the play. But I did see him go down to the turf before the ball arrived.
Forward pass interference. Saskatchewan 13. 1st down.
Well, you're going to see the end of this play, and by this time, you're going to see, watch Andrew Gregg as the ball is coming in there. Now, he's going down right there before the ball arrives. Now, the question is, did Eric Sutton push him down, or did he just fall down on his own? Eric Sutton says he fell down, and of course, Gregg argued the opposite, and Gregg won the argument.
And it puts Saskatchewan in a little bit more trouble here. Of course, the ball moving ahead to a 1st down inside the 20. McManus looks for the end zone again, and nobody with the white, black, and gold is near that one, with another flag on the play. Little miscommunication there. It falls incomplete. It'll be 2nd down.
Offside. Saskatchewan 98. 1st down repeated.
And Dwayne Patterson called on the offside, so good break for the Ticats. After that incompletion, they will nonetheless move it up 5 yards and get a 1st and 5 out of it.
Oh, it's huge because now you're in 1st and 5. You can run the ball twice and realistically believe that you can come up with the 1st down. If you were staring at 2nd and 10, it makes it a different situation.
At the 13-yard line, 1st and 5 Ticats. Ronald Williams with the football still on his feet, and another 1st down. It'll be 1st and goal for Hamilton. And that is quarter time. The Ticats trailing by 11, but they're in business. When the 2nd begins, they'll be at 1st and goal. Now let's go to Friday Night Football control.
You're watching Adidas Friday Night Football, and we're at the quarter.
All right, 14-3, probably not for long for the Riders. A little bit of a disturbing trend for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Their receiving core, not very fast, so they kind of depend on their hands. And we saw the same thing last week against Calgary, Chris. A lot of drop balls.
Well, not just the drop balls, but also that special teams play that went the distance in the opening drive by the Saskatchewan Roughriders when they scored. And it's a funny thing about football, because sometimes the most important thing is the mental intensity the player creates in his mind, whether he's emotionally ready to go. And I don't think defensively and in special teams, Hamilton is quite there yet. They still have to work on that phase. If they don't regain it, there's going to be continued big plays for Saskatchewan. Not so much the offense, though. I think the offense is doing well for Hamilton.
Well, the score really doesn't indicate where Hamilton is in this game. You know, I spent 3 years with Danny Mack in BC, and I can tell you one thing. When this guy's hot, he's the most dangerous quarterback in the league, and he's making a lot of nice throws tonight. They're just dropping the football. But something about Danny Mack, when he's got that confidence, he's going to keep going and going and going, throwing the ball upfield, getting rid of it quick. Saskatchewan better get some points because Danny Mack has that look tonight.
You know, and on the other side, we were chatting before the game, and you said that they should go with Sarkisian. If Slack is not so healthy, it may pay off. They may not need Reggie. Second quarter action. Here's Rod.
Thank you, James. Jim Daly, reason for concern after the offside by Patterson and some other plays, too.
Yeah, he's got to be concerned about this penalty situation. Here were the two on this drive. This was the controversial pass interference call on Eric Sutton. Really couldn't tell whether or not he got his hands on the back of Andrew Gregg. And this is the offside by Dwayne Patterson here. He's going to just jump. You're going to see him rock forward, get in that neutral zone with both hands before the snap of the ball. And that gave Danny McManus that great 1st and 5 situation. Of course, Ron Williams converted.
And now it'll be 1st and goal for Hamilton. Their deepest penetration before was to the 10-yard line, as mentioned before. They got a field goal out of that, a 17-yarder from Paul Osbaldiston to get on the board. But trailing 14-3, will swing the momentum around again should they be able to get in for the touchdown. On the other hand, I would think tremendous momentum shift for Saskatchewan's defense if they can hold them to a field goal again.
Well, yeah, that's a huge victory if they can do it.
So here we go, and 1st and goal. Audibles from McManus. End zone? No. Shannon Garrett.
Well, you know what? I think the Saskatchewan defense lined up one way and then switched on the snap of the ball because Danny McManus audible to quick slants from his slot backs. That means he's likely seen that the middle will be open, but the middle is not open. Mario Smith comes across and lays the hit. Shannon Garrett was in the coverage. I mean, that was a huge hit. You go into that pattern if you think the middle will be open, and it wasn't.
Garrett is having a good game. Coverage on Morreale early in this one out of the shotgun. 2nd and goal. End zone for Gregg. No good. Todd McMillan doing some celebrating. And indeed, the Saskatchewan Roughriders defense, it appears, has held Hamilton to a field goal and no more.
Well, it was a battle from start to finish down the field between Gregg and Todd McMillan. They were both hand fighting as this ball is in the air, and it's a good no call by the officials because both players were fighting for the football, and you got to allow both players to have a chance at it. Todd McMillan wins this battle, but it's a good no call from the officials because they're both hand fighting.
And this field goal attempt will be from the 14-yard line. A chip shot for Paul Osbaldiston up and in. And he's perfect on the night, but Hamilton's offense certainly feels it should have more to show for it than just 6 points. They're still down by 8 early in the second. Play safe. Twice, Ronnie Lancaster's offense has been knocking on the door, and twice it has been denied. So 2 field goals instead, and a moral victory for sure for Jim Daly with the 8-point lead here in the second quarter.
Oh, yeah, when you have a couple of penalties, 8 a drive, and you're right down there backed up against your own goal line and only give up 3, that's a victory.
On the kickoff, taken by Mike Saunders inside his 20. And he's upended there and taken down by Jarrett Smith. Let's get an update now on the sideline with Ray Morrison, Ray.
Okay, thanks, Rod. Just a little more on Reggie Slack. Jim Daly was actually amazed at how much that hip pointer had tightened up overnight, and today he just was not ready to go. Even as he approached his locker today, there was definite cause for concern, but as far as the Riders are concerned, they held off the Tiger Cats here in a late drive, held them to a field goal, and they did not suffer too bad of damage as far as the penalties were concerned, so the Riders have to consider themselves fortunate.
Thank you, Ray. And yes, and fortunate, too, the way Steve Sarkisian has been playing so far. He had a good drive early on in this game for the first touchdown, and there completes it. Sean Daniels, who was originally drafted by the Hamilton Tiger Cats and then traded to Saskatchewan for his first go-around. A flag on the play, though, and it looks like it's coming back.
You know, history is sort of on Steve Sarkisian's side when you consider that.
Holding, Saskatchewan 67. First down repeated.
Dan Comiskey got called on the holding, but when you consider that the last time Steve Sarkisian started a football game was the 1997 Cotton Bowl. In that game, he was the MVP.
Wow.
So he starts this one, and Jim Daly obviously hoping that the same results happen here tonight.
I think he'd accept maybe even half of that.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be the MVP of the game, but let's get the W.
Exactly.
It's on the holding by Dan Comiskey. It's 1st and 20, Saskatchewan in a hole, but with the lead and just pushing and bullying right up the middle. A short gain there for the Roughriders. Time of possession was certainly a concern for Hamilton last week against Calgary. Check out the time of possession here in this one. Wow. Ticats, well, they're down on the scoreboard, but certainly dominating Saskatchewan in that one department.
It's amazing because, you know, when you talk to Danny McManus, he says, we got to control the time of possession. That was the key. Well, he's done that. He's achieved his goal, but now he's going to want to punch that ball in when he has the chance.
The Ticats had the ball for only a third of the game against Calgary in their loss last week at Ivor Wynn. Nice catch up over the middle. Dan Farthing brings it down, and I believe he's got another Saskatchewan first down. Very close.
Well, you know, this is not easy when you're talking about playing the receiver position, coming across the middle, have your quarterback throw the ball high, having to expose your rib cage and go up and catch it. Takes a lot of courage to do that. Dan Farthing goes up strong, catches the ball with his hands, comes down with it.
And for that long a route, he got the first down by about an inch. Perfectly run pattern by Farthing. On the first down. Take the handoff to Saunders. Sarkisian finds Donald Narcisse, whose streak continues. A regular update in the career of this remarkable man, Narcisse. Now 196 games and counting. What a career he's had.
It's not a bad career, you know. 863 catches, 1,100 yards. That's not bad.
This was heading in, so yeah, just add one to the totals.
Eight 1,000-yard seasons. I mean, just amazing. It's like it just gets better with Don Narcisse. Wants to play again next year.
Well, that's one catch for him. He had 11 against the Tiger Cats back in July the 30th. Mike Saunders, another first down on 2nd and short. And Sarkisian and the green and white are on the move again, leading it 14-6.
Well, when you're the safety and the tailback has get to the outside, Rob Hitchcock's got to try and run him down. And watch how he tries to get the pursuit angle on Mike Saunders. He bounces to the outside. He tries to get the pursuit angle, but Saunders' speed gets him about 4 or 5 more yards, and then Hitchcock has to pull him down from behind.
Saunders started last season with the Tiger Cats, and frustrated, though, ended up with Toronto before going to Saskatchewan. That catch is made by Curtis Mayfield on the first down and gets up across inside the Hamilton 40-yard line to the 39. It'll be 2nd down.
He's been a bit of a forgotten man as far as the offense has gone for Saskatchewan and Curtis Mayfield, but he's continued to contribute on special teams. And, of course, you think back to that big kickoff return. I mean, here's what we're talking about offensively. First 6 games, very important in the offense, 6 touchdowns. And then you go to the second 6 games. Wow, that ever drop off in a hurry.
On 2nd down, the handoff to Saunders, who gets down to the 35-yard line. Another first down for Saskatchewan.
When you talk about Mayfield's production, though, I mean, you can't do a whole lot from the receiver position if you're not seeing the football. The ball's been going to Don Narcisse a little bit more. Larry Thompson's becoming more involved in the offense. Of course, Mike Saunders has always been. So from Curtis Mayfield, there's only one football. Mayfield says, I just keep working, and it'll eventually come back my way.
He's done a lot of big things with that football. There's a player down in the field. It's right tackle Ben Fairbrother on the play as they tend to him. We'll take a break. Saskatchewan with the lead and the ball. Injured right tackle Ben Fairbrother off in the Saskatchewan sideline. He went down. Mike Saunders fell on it.
Yeah, it was his own guy. I mean, you watch his leg right back here as Mike Saunders is going to end up going over the pile and then falling right on the back of his left heel. Twisted his ankle in there a little bit.
And so Rob Lazio is in the offensive line. They hand off to Saunders. It was a first down, and so in short yardage here, it'll be 2nd and long. A couple of yards more for Saunders.
Met by Joe Montford. Well, Mike Saunders definitely, I mean, running backs all want to make sure they take care of their offensive line. You know, you hear stories about running backs taking them out for dinner and stuff like that because they're only as good as their offensive linemen. You see Mike Saunders' numbers last week, but he definitely doesn't want to hurt his own guys.
And you can be sure those linemen love that dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Rather take that than the gold watch, right? Here we go in 2nd down, and long, big pressure gets it away. The safety blitz, and that one just falls incomplete.
Well, it was incomplete, but you have to consider it a victory for Steve Sarkisian if you're the coaching staff of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, because here's Rob Hitchcock coming up on the safety blitz. Sarkisian sees him up in there, and it's because of his quickness and great reads. He sees safety coming. Got to get rid of the football. He does that. It's not complete, but it's a great read for the quarterback. Don Southern said, well, we can't fool him with the blitz, but at least we made him throw it when he didn't want to.
Southern, great defensive coordinator, and of course was the head coach, fired last year midway through the season as head coach of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and Ron Lancaster took the job and wanted Sudsy back on that team running the defense. A great job he's done, and Saskatchewan has 3 more points on the board. The field goal by Paul McCallum. So another green and white drive results in points on the board. And they're leading at 17-6 in the 2nd quarter at Taylor Field. .42 to go until halftime here at Taylor Field. It's been sort of a good night for Danny McManus. They've had the ball a lot, but frustrating for McManus and that offense as well, Glenn.
Well, he's had drops. Eric Tillman mentioned it at the break. Danny McManus is on right now. He's just had receivers drop the football.
And he will throw again out of the shotgun on 1st down. Under pressure. Gets away and throws it away, and a flag down. Looks like they'll call him for grounding.
Well, Archie Amerson was close.
Given the trajectory of the ball, I don't think he was close enough.
The ball's thrown behind the line of scrimmage. You have to have a receiver close to it.
Intentional grounding. Hamilton, number 14. 2nd down.
So now we know that if you have to be within about 6 or 7 yards of the ball bouncing.
Usually a good rule to operate by, right?
Okay, so here's the pressure. Comes from Dwayne Patterson to the outside. Danny McManus is flushed out. Now he's trying to dump it. He's just going to spike it. And there's about a 4-yard distance. See, there's the feed. Now watch where the ball comes down. The ball's going to bounce. There's Amerson. He would have caught it on one hop. He's about 6 yards away.
You know, Archie might have helped him out by diving a bit, right?
Yeah, could have closed the gap a little bit.
Down to 2 yards, maybe. Well, it's more yardage. It's 2nd and 15. Long pass, nearly picked off by Eric Sutton. Oh, and he had lots of daylight if he had it.
Well, that's the one where Eric Sutton will walk up to Tyrell Ulmer and say, if you hadn't have touched it, I'd have been going the other way. But Tyrell Ulmer does a nice job of deflecting the football. He doesn't know that Sutton's in great position behind him. McManus tries to look off the zone coverage, go back to the right. See, number 2, Ulmer, get up there and knock the ball away. That deflects it down a little bit, and Sutton can't hang on.
But as a result, the Ticats will be punting into the wind. Trailing by 11 points, Paul Osbaldiston standing at his 15. And a nice driving spiral. Great punt by Osbaldiston. And on the return, Larry Thompson gets up across the 40 to the 42-yard line, Saskatchewan. A 7-yard return after that punt. So the Green Riders and Sarkisian will go to work again.
Friday night football tonight.
Another game of significance for Saskatchewan. The BC Lions taking on the Edmonton Eskimos. Nothing's decided except Calgary's got a playoff spot. CFL Live, John Wells and Glenn Sitter. We got that one for you. 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. On the first down, Saskatchewan, Sarkisian. Handing off. Saunders dancing his way across the 45 to the 48-yard line.
You know, the key when you have a quarterback that doesn't have a lot of playing experience is success on first down, whether it be with short passes or a good running game. So Cal Murphy and Jim Daly know that they need to have success to take some of the pressure off Sarkisian, especially when you have a pocket passer. Second and long is trouble if you have to stand in that pocket.
And he has been helped out, as you mentioned, by Mike Saunders. A great night. Good blocking for him up front. And they're passing now. 2nd and 4. And that one, they had lots of time, but Justin Ring closest to that football as it falls incomplete.
Well, pretty good coverage downfield because Steve Sarkisian has a ton of time to throw the football. I mean, look at this. You can take this snap. And then if we go to here, look at this. 1 steamboat, 2 steamboat, 3 steamboat, 4. Mumford can't get there. 5 steamboat, 6. 7 steamboats is enough. Well, of course, that was slow-mo, so we'll take 2 steamboats off.
I was going to say.
Okay. So 5 steamboats is still a lot.
It still looked like a lot of time, though, no matter how much you slow it down. Of course, it looks like more and more. Big pressure, nearly blocked. McCallum gets it away. And taken down there. Number 15, Joe Hagens for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Okay, well, exactly how many steamboats was it? I'm wondering if, because I don't want to, you know. Okay, here we go. Let's go. This will be regular. Here we go. Ready, go. 1 steamboat, 2 steamboat, 3 steamboat, 4 steamboat, 5. Okay, 5 steamboats.
5 steamboats.
That's pretty good.
That's tons.
You know, when you're in practice, they have a little clock because you don't actually pass rush in practice. They have a little clock with a buzzer on it. They usually let it go for 3 or 4 seconds and then turn the buzzer on, and that simulates a sack. So if you can get 5 or 6 seconds, you're doing pretty well.
1st and 10 Tiger Cats with the ball at the 32-yard line. Handoff Ronald Williams. Big hole up the middle. Good run, Williams. 1st down Tiger Cats. A flag, though, back in the Hamilton backfield.
42.
Looks like it's coming back, too. To the disgust of
Holding.
Ronald Williams.
Hamilton, number 68. 1st down repeated.
Dave Hack gets called on the holding. I think he was working on Dwayne Patterson, and he basically tackles him on the play. He's going to be up here to the top of your screen, and Dwayne Patterson works upfield. Dave Hack is going to tackle him with his left arm and pull him to the ground, and Dwayne Patterson has no chance to get in there on Ron Williams.
And, yeah, they're moving back even more. Another penalty called on this. This is burying Hamilton even deeper.
Someone said something to the officials, and they got moved back again, and that's a penalty that Ron Lancaster will not stand for.
Objectionable conduct against the Tiger Cats. And a big hole to dig out of here. They try, though. Andrew Grigg with the ball. Bobby Olive, I should say, and a big gain for Hamilton.
Well, Lancaster at halftime will be talking penalties once again. And whoever got the objectionable conduct, we never did get a number of here. Whoever got the objectionable conduct better find a hole to hide in the locker room. I mean, a big play to get them back into a chance to convert on 2nd and short here, but penalties like that will come back and haunt you as the game progresses.
That was a 1st and 30. They gained 29 yards on that play.
Wow.
Danny McManus to Bobby Olive. So it's 2nd and 1. After all of that, they dig themselves out of the hole. And on the handoff, Williams takes it, and Ronald Williams easily has a 1st down and more, still on his feet with some...
Well, Rod, it was apparently Ron Williams who was doing the talking and got the penalty as he was heading back, and he went out and sat one play on the bench. So Lancaster already had a word with Ron Williams about talking after the fact, and then threw him right back in there, and Ron Williams makes amends by coming up with the 1st down, but Ron Lancaster was quick to talk to Ronald Williams about talking to the official.
So it's a 1st down for the Tiger Cats. And they have moved the sticks quickly here out of the shotgun, faking the handoff and throwing over to the sidelines. Intended there for Andrew Grigg, but it is incomplete. It'll be 2nd down.
Well, sometimes an incompletion is a good thing. And Danny McManus, I think, would tell you that on that pass, it was good that he threw it high and outside, and there was no chance for anyone to catch it because pretty good coverage downfield, and he had Paul Spicer in his face.
A lot of drop balls for Danny McManus. He has thrown the ball well, but just 7 for 18. A misleading stat, the way he has played tonight. 4:45 and counting on this scoreboard clock at Taylor Field. Saskatchewan fans like what they see on 2nd down and 10. And the ball is caught. It's caught, and it's close to first down yardage.
They've had success with it for 3 weeks in a row. They set up a formation with Darren Flutie isolated on the backside one-on-one. 5 receivers to the field. This is the play. If you react by sending your defensive backs and linebackers to the front side, you get the one-on-one on the backside. That's what they did on the last play. That's how the defense for Saskatchewan adjusted, and Darren Flutie comes up with the big catch. If you do it the other way, you play zone, and you're outnumbered to the field. Either way, you get Darren Flutie in a good situation one-on-one.
It's at the Saskatchewan 52. It's 3rd and 1. They go for it. They get it. Ronald Williams again. The sticks move. The Ticats on the move. They're down close to the 46-yard line of Saskatchewan.
Well, it's an interesting formation that the Hamilton Tiger Cats come up with. 5 receivers to one side of the field, and then Ron Lancaster puts Darren Flutie in the isolation on the backside. Now, Saskatchewan tried to do one-on-one back there with Todd McMillan. That time, Flutie won the battle. Next time, they may have to play zone, which means you're outnumbered to the field. So either way, Hamilton has an advantage.
McManus throwing and finding a man again. It's complete. Bobby Olive again.
Bobby Olive, number 88.
And once again, very close, if not, another Tiger Cat first down.
How good has Danny McManus been this year for the Hamilton Tiger Cats? Well, first of all, you just look at the record to answer the question. I mean, 10 wins says a lot, but Danny McManus in the last 3 seasons has been over 4,000 yards, his best season being in 1995 when he had 4,600. He is on pace this year to eclipse the 5,000-yard mark. If he stays on this pace, he'll be up around 5,100 yards. That's how good Danny McManus has been this year.
That completion to Olive close enough to measure. And just shy of a first down. This time, though, it'll be 2nd and very short.
Well, now, is this the one? I mean, this is the perfect situation for the old play action up over the top to Darren Flutie play. Now, I don't even know if they have it in the playbook, but
we'll see what they do in 2nd and short. Ron Williams has been getting a lot of these short yardage situations and gets it again. Still going. Ronald Williams rounds the corner, gets taken out at the Saskatchewan 20. Good running by Ronald Williams in this first half.
Sorry, Rod. One of the keys for the Saskatchewan Roughriders to win, as we talked about early, was tackling. Watch the defensive line up front at the point of attack. They're going to hit Ron Williams right in the hole, but they're not going to wrap up. Vincent Donaldson's in there. Mario Smith is up at the top. Ken Benson breaks the tackle, goes to the outside. You've got to tackle, bring him down, wrap him up, and hang on.
Once again, the Ticats close to knocking on the door at the 19, first down. And Williams with the football, this time a shorter gain. He gets taken down at around the 17.
Well, better tackling on that play.
With the clock ticking down to 3 minutes to go until halftime. Tiger Cats, they're down 17-6, but they're in business again. The 3-minute warning, and then we head to halftime in Friday Night Football with James Duthie, Eric Tillman, and Chris Schultz, and some first half analysis and a look ahead to the rest of the weekend. What an interesting weekend it is in the Canadian Football League, getting close to playoff time.
Well, yeah, that's what makes the previews exciting. They'll talk about the games coming up, and BC and Edmonton, of course, have the big game. Toronto and Montreal in the rematch, so interesting halftime.
What a great game so far for Ronald Williams. 12 carries, 73 yards, and doing pretty well after he makes his first contact.
Yeah, I mean, 32 yards after the fact. So 32 of the 73 are yards after first contact, which is a sign that your running back's getting it done. But you know what? On this drive, he's had to because of that penalty he took early.
This started way back in Hamilton's end with their 15. McManus Rolling out, gets a block, with time throws. And they're saying incomplete. They thought they might have had the completion, but it is no good, and it'll be third down, another field goal situation for the Ticats.
Well, I think once Danny McManus started to roll out, the pattern started to break off, and I'm not sure who this ball was intended to. Andrew Gregg was looking like he wanted it, and I believe it was Morreale that was diving across the formation to try and come up with himself. So once the quarterback starts scrambling a little bit, you're not sure what's going to happen in your patterns.
And once again, only a field goal at best to show for this drive. Osbaldiston from the 29, and he has been perfect on the night. 3 for 3, but only 9 points on the board for a Hamilton team that could have a whole bunch more and still trailing by 8.
Yeah, that's why there was so much concern on Ron Lancaster's face. No question, he's shaking his head because he wants to come away with majors when he gets down that close to scoring territory. You always hear about it, production in the red zone. You come away with the major, you come away with field goals. And you know what? Close games, field goals just don't cut it.
And next Friday, we will see the Hamilton Tiger Cats again on Adidas Friday Night Football. Talk about your important matchups, especially if the Tiger Cats do not win this game tonight. The Argos still have an outside shot at getting first place. A key game at Skydome, and we'll have that one for you. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. Want to get some tickets? 416-341-5151. Tickets available for the Argos and the Ticats, and one of the great rivalries in the Canadian Football League.
Well, how about that scenario? Toronto wins tomorrow. Hamilton wins here tonight. That game becomes awfully important.
The possibilities when you look at both divisions are endless. You could just get a headache trying to figure it all out. Heading into this weekend, a flag on the return there. Mike Saunders with the football, but a flag being thrown back at the Saskatchewan 31.
Of course, Montreal might have something to say about that game tomorrow. Yeah.
Saunders pulled down.
Ron Lancaster had said it before, you know, playing a home game in the playoffs would be nice. Of course, saying it facetiously, almost a must for the Ticats in his eyes.
Holding, Saskatchewan number 88, first down.
Guzman Tunkara called for holding in that play, but the standings in the East Division have really tightened up because of the way Hamilton's played the last 4 weeks. Only one win. The 21 points, 2 better than the Alouettes, who also face the Argos. Should the Argos on the weekend beat Montreal, how interesting does that get?
Well, it gets so interesting, but when you talk about Hamilton and how important this game and how important home field is in the playoffs, I mean, they have played too hard and too well throughout this season to let it slip away now, and I think that's why they think this is such a big game here tonight.
On first down, play action fake. Sarkisian finds a man wide open. It's Donald Narcisse, and a first down for Saskatchewan up closer to the 40-yard line.
You know, when you consider how great of a turnaround it has been for Ron Lancaster, that's what he faces to finish off the season. So he's going to play the guys that he's battling with in the playoffs.
Now, you want first place? Do you like it that way? Take them head on. I mean, I'm sure the teams trailing definitely like it that way. They can have a little more control.
Well, yeah, I mean, you'd love to have control of your own destiny. I think that's all you really try and do as a football club is if you win the game, you get first. That's all you want.
After a gain of 16 by Narcisse, it's first down Saskatchewan. Sean Daniels with a rare reception. His first catch of the night as he gets it up close to another Saskatchewan first down.
Doesn't get the ball a whole lot, although the Saskatchewan Roughriders with their option series, when Reggie Slack is healthy, the fullback is the first stage of that option series. So because of that play and how well Reggie Slack runs the play, Daniels has seen the football a little bit more than he normally has this season.
A gain of 9, 2nd and 1. Sarkisian and the Roughriders with the lead and looking to pad that lead under 2 minutes to go until halftime. Daniels keeps it, and he finishes things off from what he started, picking up the first down for Saskatchewan. Well, you talk about the scenario in the East. How about the scenario in the West, where the only thing we can say with 3 weeks to go, beginning this week 16, is that Calgary has a playoff spot. I believe at least 2nd place.
And you know what? I was reading the paper today here in Regina, and they went over all the scenarios. And you know what? All I will say is that by halfway through the article, I was confused. So I'm not even going to attempt it. But this is what Saskatchewan has left, the BC Lions. That'll be a huge game depending on what happens here tonight and on Sunday when BC plays Edmonton.
Sarkisian throws. It falls incomplete, intended for Donald Narcisse. The fans don't like it, but just waved incomplete. But you know, the game against BC, we talked last week. We did the game at BC Place, how important that game was, because should the Roughriders end up in a tie in the standings with the Lions, it doesn't matter what they do next week, because BC wins the tiebreaker. They've already beaten Saskatchewan twice this year.
That's why Jim Daly was still talking about the Mo Elowanibi touchdown in BC, and you know, a lot of the people here saying it may not have made a difference, and Jim Daly saying it did, but that's all water under the bridge. The fact of the matter is they got to win and take care of business if they want a chance.
Good stats for Sarkisian. 6 for 9, flags everywhere. And it's up, and it looks to be picked off, and it is. Chris Schelling with the football, but there's a lot to be sorted out right now as the field is painted with orange.
Number 30 is Chris Schelling.
See what the flag is. It was a good matchup for the Hamilton defense. It looks to Sarkisian. It's against Hamilton.
Offside. Hamilton 53. Second down repeated.
Boy, Joe Mumford. Joe Mumford is going to take the ball out of their hands, out of the Hamilton Tiger Cats' hands. Here's Joe Mumford. He's at the bottom of your screen. You can see that he is well in the neutral zone before the snap of the ball, no question. He was complaining that he was drawn into that area, but the refs saw it differently.
Sarkisian on 2nd and 5 with the offside. But no, it falls incomplete. It'll be 3rd down from midfield. Saskatchewan will be punted with 1:31 to go on the clock here at Taylor Field until halftime. 17-9 Saskatchewan.
Well, it turns out Hamilton's going to get the football back anyway, but they would have had it on the interception. You're not sure what's going to happen on the punt. And Jim Daly will go talk about the play before where it was intercepted. Make sure his quarterback's on the right page.
So Paul McCallum be punting with a breeze at his back from his 40-yard line. Gets a good punt away. Chases the Ticats and Archie Amerson back inside the 5. This is Bobby Olive with the football, and Olive up to the 14-yard line. And so Danny McManus, after that 12-yard return, will still have some tough field position to work with, and working against the breeze late in this first half.
And there's no quarterback in the game that can run the hurry-up offense better than Danny McManus.
His first year in Hamilton, and with every other team he's played with, this is his 4th in the CFL. He has gone to the Grey Cup as a backup to Matt Dunnigan in Winnipeg, and of course the amazing Grey Cup over Baltimore in '94 when it was him and Kent Austin. And then got to the Grey Cup in '96, his first year with the Edmonton Eskimos under Ronnie Lancaster, and they're still together.
It's amazing, isn't it? 4 out of 8 years, he's in the Grey Cup game.
That bodes well for Tiger Cat fans, perhaps. We'll see. Ronald Williams on the reception, gets about 9 yards on that play, up across the 20 to the 23.
Well, he's going to get him up on the line of scrimmage now, call the play, or likely try and get, because Ron Williams went out of bounds, he'll be able to go into the huddle. And what he'll do in the huddle now is he'll call 2 plays in the huddle so that he can call the next one on the line of scrimmage. And Danny McManus has learned from one of the best at running the hurry-up in Ron Lancaster.
Oh, yeah, he was pretty good, wasn't he?
Yeah, he could do it in his day, no question.
Lancaster, the visiting coach, but always a hero and a legend here at Taylor Field, to be sure, and in all of Saskatchewan. Ronald Williams, the short yardage carry again to get the first down, but Lancaster, the leading passer in CFL history by far, over 50,000 yards. He played here for the Green Riders back from 1963 through the '78 season.
You know what, and it's his 60th birthday on Wednesday, and I said to him, happy birthday. I said, you know, you must not feel 60. He says, the only time I feel 60 is when I pick up a football and try and throw it. He says, I've thrown about 30 footballs in the last 10 years.
That throw by Danny McManus falls incomplete on the first down, so it'll be 2nd and 10 Ticats. Lancaster, yeah, definite legend. 2-quarterback system Ottawa tried under Frank Clare with Russ Jackson. And they decided that one of them had to go because they were both starters, and so they worked out a deal. And Ottawa traded Lancaster back in 1963 to the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and the rest history. 3 years later, they were winning a Grey Cup.
And you know what? Ron Lancaster loves coming back here. I mean, he knows it gets pretty nasty on the sideline there, but he can sit in a coffee shop and talk football with the Saskatchewan for hour upon hour, and I think that's why he likes coming back.
Out of the shotgun on 2nd down, McManus needs 10, gets 10, and a little bit more. Nice work by Andrew Gregg, stepping out of bounds with 55 seconds to go on the clock, and the sticks will move for the Ticats.
It's a good play by Grigg because he had the presence of mind to know where the first down yardage was, get up there, and then get out of bounds as quickly as possible to stop the clock.
Well, the Ticats have moved the football well and got nothing but field goals, and I'm sure at this point in time, under a minute, still in their own zone, they would accept a fourth field goal by Osbaldiston just to get a few more on the board. McManus steps up, has a completion across midfield. And it is Bobby Olive with the football. All of a sudden, they're in Saskatchewan territory.
Bobby Olive almost broke a spat trying to decide which way to run the football after the catch.
A gain of, excuse me, Glenn, a gain of 21 yards for Olive.
Yeah, and that was the important part, the catch.
49 seconds showing. The clock stopped for now, and ticking again out of the shotgun. McManus airs it out, wants Olive, great coverage, and incomplete. Todd McMillan was with him every step of the way.
Todd McMillan is having a super football game, whether he is isolated on Flutie or has to do the man-to-man down at the bottom here on Olive. Watch the great coverage. Stay in your back pedal till you break that cushion. The cushion is about 3 yards. Olive gets close enough. He turns and runs, turns back to the football. Textbook coverage from Todd McMillan on a deep pattern. If you're a young DB watching this game, that's how you do it.
Second down and 10. Another first down for Hamilton. That should be enough, although there is a breeze for a field goal. McManus under pressure, though, and he has taken down Gary Rogers. Just when it looked like McManus would get away, knocks him down for a loss of 3 yards.
Gary Rogers gets the sack. Danny McManus really had nowhere to throw the football. Gary Rogers is a guy who's going to end up with the sack on the play, but watch how much time McManus has. He goes to the outside, gets pulled down there, still no one open, no one to throw to. Gary Rogers finally gets him.
I'll tell you, this Saskatchewan defense has been much maligned throughout the season, but the kind of game it's playing tonight is really helping out this ball club with the lead by 8 points because of big plays like that. Although Hamilton has been able to move the football close to the Rough Rider end zone, they haven't been able to punch it in, and they're not going to get field goal situation to come up here late in the half. Osbaldiston will be punting from his 40. Nearly blocked. Great pressure for the Riders. Tyrell Ulmer takes it at his 22. Still on his feet, Ulmer. Tyrell Ulmer, a great return up to the 48-yard line. And 22 seconds away from the half with James Duthie, Eric Tillman, and Chris Schultz. A look at this half here at Taylor Field. A look ahead to an interesting weekend still to come here in the Canadian Football League. Gary Rogers with the big play and the sack that certainly helped his team out late in this half.
Well, he's got one, and there's a guy on the other side that we talked about at the beginning of this game that we haven't talked about since, and that's Joe Mumford. You saw the goose egg in the stats for Hamilton in the sack department, and we haven't heard a lot from Mr. Mumford.
He has 20, leading the CFL. Didn't get any last week and has none tonight. As Glenn mentioned, play action fake, Sarkeesian. The clock ticks down. That one falls short and incomplete. Intended for Curtis Mayfield.
Well, he won't get the sack on this play, but just as we mentioned him, he will get the pressure. Here's Joe Mumford coming from the outside. Now watch this. This is called a pressure in the stats. Come up there and you pressure the quarterback to throw it when he doesn't really want to. You see Joe Mumford, there's his 20 on the season, and that's how many more he needs to be the all-time leader in Ticat history.
Well, some good ones there, eh? Grover Covington, Mike Walker.
Pressures don't count, though. He's got to really get the sack.
CFL record, James Quick Parker, 26 and a half sacks. Sarkeesian steps up. Buys some time, throws it. Saunders, what a catch. Behind the back with one hand. He had to turn around, use one hand, gets it. 7 seconds on the clock, and they're in field goal range.
That's a three-point catch from Mike Saunders right there. Look at this catch from number 32. Behind him as he's running to the sideline, one hand on it, tips it up, keeps it alive and hangs on. It's like keeping it alive on a rebound in basketball. Just keep it alive. Keep it up in the air. Hang on to that football. That's a 3-point catch if Paul McCallum can come up with a field goal right here.
In a word, wow. And what a break. And this could be 3 more points on the board. There is time enough. And what would be a 47-yarder? Or will they try to get one more quick play and then go for the field goal? They have a timeout called. Sarkisian off to talk things over with Jim Daly now.
Well, what they want to make sure is that if they miss, they're set up for the kick-out rule.
And of course, yes, McCallum is out there, so they are going for it.
Yeah, they're going
on a first down.
They're going to kick the field goal, but what they have to discuss here is once the ball is kicked, if it's going wide, it'll be kicked back. You see how Hamilton has 3 people in the end zone ready to catch that ball if it's wide and either run it out or kick it back out to save the single point. So Saskatchewan wanted to make sure they were ready to kick it back into the end zone. Paul Osbaldiston, one of the guys back there.
And there you see Paul Osbaldiston, Mike Morreale's back there as well. The kick, it was wide, and it's no problem running it out. Andrew Grigg with it. And so they go for the 3 points, but McCallum misses the field goal. And that is it. The end of the first half, but a good first half for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, leading Hamilton 17-9 to Adidas Friday Night Football Control.
You're watching Adidas Friday Night Football, and we're at the half. Here's your host, James Duffy.
All right, welcome back to TSN Football Control. And go figure, the Riders don't have Reggie Slack. They barely have the ball in the first half, and yet they have a 17-9 lead. And I guess it comes down to Hamilton just not taking advantage of its opportunities, Eric.
Well, James, 3 field goals just isn't going to get it. And that Mike Saunders reception right before the halftime, even though they didn't make the kick, was a perfect example. Saskatchewan's making plays, and Hamilton isn't. And with 30 minutes to go in this football game, it's big-time gut check time for the Hamilton Ticats. If they lose this one tonight, as we said earlier, they're looking down the barrel of a shotgun with Toronto and Montreal back-to-back. Lose those, Chris, and first place goes to third place just like that. I mean, they have to win.
And if I was Ron Lancaster, that is exactly what I would say. Hey, guys, we got 2 tough ones after this within our own conference. This is the one that we're supposed to come out and win relatively easy. Are you guys really ready? I challenge them. I mean, basically, more than anything else, it's been drop passes. Danny McManus is playing. He's throwing the ball with authority and velocity. The receivers aren't catching the football, but give credit to Saskatchewan. Number 1, they're protecting Steve Sarkisian extremely well. We haven't heard from Joe Mofford, Willie Whitehead. We haven't heard from Phil Burke. We haven't heard from Gonzalo Floyd. Going into the game, James, I thought those guys would be making the plays, not the Rider offensive line.
Praising the lineman, eh?
Yeah,
you got to give him a shot when you can. 17-9 is the score. One play really the difference. Curtis Mayfield goes the length of the field on a kickoff return, and then he brings the mile-high salute to Regina. We'll be back. Welcome back. 3 more to go this weekend. The CBC has the Als and Argos tomorrow afternoon. We've got BC and Edmonton on Sunday. And the Stamps take on the only team out of the playoff race in the CFL, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, also on Sunday. Let's quickly go over all 3 of those games. First of all, the Als and Argos. The Argos destroyed the Als in Montreal last week, 40-13, Chris, and they've handled them always well at Skydome, but pinball is out. That might hurt them a bit.
I think that's going to hurt them a lot because pinball is the one player that provides tremendous flexibility, in particular on that little inside shovel pass, which is a big part of that Argonaut offense. Look for Daryl Mitchell to take that role and make some plays. And also a great opportunity for Tony Smith, the young man, really establishing himself, the opportunity to establish himself as a running back. Montreal, on the other hand, I think they have to have good quarterback play. We don't know whether it's going to be Calvillo or Tracy Ham, but knowing Tracy Ham, if he's on that field at 1 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow, he will play and he'll be the starter.
Those are the 2nd and 3rd place teams in the East. Similar story in the West with the 2nd and 3rd place teams going at it, BC and Edmonton, Eric.
Yeah, but BC's getting hot at the right time, aren't they? They're playing as well as anyone in the league. And this week they add Robert Drummond to the lineup. And I tell you what, that combination of Robert Drummond and Juan Johnson can be absolutely lethal. Not only are they both good football players, but they create a lot of problems for defense. This is why. They have the ability to play the 2-back set, the 1-back set, and even play empty with those two guys in the game. And defenses don't know what they're going to do, so they can't substitute. When that happens, you get mismatches. You get a guy like Robert Drummond on a linebacker, you get a big play, 7 points. Now, Edmonton takes a lot of pride in their defense. They always have. They're going to be challenged this weekend.
Calgary and Winnipeg looks like the blowout of the year.
Possibly so. I mean, there could be an opportunity for complacency for Calgary, but I don't think so. Wally Buono challenges players individually and collectively. That's different. Not all coaches do that. I think another issue here really is the fact that if Calgary wins, it's first place. You make first place, you get a little bit of extra money, plus you get that bye week. What more does a player want than a little bit of extra money and some rest?
Indeed. They sound like you've spoken that from experience, my friend. Well, there's only a couple of weeks left to go out and see a CFL game in person. Here are the ticket numbers for your favorite team. Go out and see a game.
My car is a lot easier to maintain than these ostriches.
Maintenance is important if it's your hair or your car.
You definitely cannot trust an ostrich.
Cars are like old hockey players. They need lots of maintenance. They break down a lot.
I go to Al's place 3 times a year. Hi, I'm Al. He comes to my place whenever he needs a meatball.
Get your car or truck ready for winter with the Midas Maintenance Package. Hurry to Midas now and get all this for just $34.95.
$34.95. That's about 7 plates of spaghetti with meatballs.
The Dodge Durango features a third bench and the most spacious interior in its class. And the same passenger and cargo carrying capability of larger sport utility vehicles, but in a smaller, more manageable size. Because aren't sport utility vehicles supposed to take you anywhere?
Introducing new McCain Golden Crisp Waffles, made waffle iron thick to stay fluffy on the inside while toasting up golden and crisp on the outside. Treat yourself to the real waffle iron taste of new McCain Golden Crisp Waffles. Waffle iron thick to toast up light and crispy every time.
Could 2 months' salary last forever? A diamond is forever. De Beers.
Don't forget, tomorrow on CBC, Mookie and the Argos take on the Als. Either one of these teams could finish first, second, or third in the wide-open East Division. Now, if you told Jim Daly a couple of days ago that he wouldn't have Reggie Slack in this game, that his defense would be on the field 2/3 of the first half, I think he would have been concerned. But yet his team has a pretty comfortable lead. Ray Morrison spoke with Jim Daly.
We're here with Jim Daly. Jim, we talked about big plays as far as your season was concerned and how you had to come up with them. You came up with a couple of big on offense and one big on defense. That happened.
Well, we had a very good punt or kickoff return from Curtis Mayfield on special teams, and offensively, Steve Sarkisian is doing a great job in relief for Reggie Slack. And if we can keep that up and play as hard as we're playing, it'll be a great second half.
Defensively, when they were moving the ball, I thought McMillan came up with some big plays on one-on-one coverage.
Well, Danny McManus is going to move the ball. He's a great quarterback with a great offense. We have to come up and minimize the gains and minimize the scores.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sometimes numbers lie. Hamilton dominating in first downs, passing yards, net yards, and time of possession, yet they trail 17-9. And don't forget, we'll be back Sunday afternoon. Damon Allen and the Lions taking on the Eskimos. Both of them have their eyes on second place and home field in the West semifinal. We'll be back.
You know what else we need in this backyard?
A garage.
At more than 270 home building centers, we have lots of amazing things. We've got your lumber. We've got your plans.
Now this is perfect.
We've got everything you need for your building or renovation project.
Hey, how about these for the dining room?
Home Building Center. We've got your lumber.
What if we needed another bedroom?
Let's go! Let's go!
At National Tilden, we believe that when it comes to renting a car, there's really only one place to go. Because at most major airports in Canada, National Tilden gets you in your car and on the road fast. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. National Tilden.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to TSN Tonight. I'm Darren DeTitian. A very special night for the Detroit Red Wings as they are playing host to the St. Louis Blues this evening. The captain, Steve Yzerman, receives the standing ovation, as well as Vladimir Konstantinov and Masur Sigay-Manatsukhanov, the guy that the Red Wings dedicated the Stanley Cup to. Head coach Scotty Bowman also on hand. Then the raising of the banner before one last shot with the Wings as they stand and sit with their 9th Stanley Cup. The celebration, it did carry into the contest itself. It was an emotional game. Darren McCarty spots Brendan Shanahan. Shanny picks up the hat trick. Wings win it by a count of 4-1. By the way, Shanahan's hat trick happened to be a natural one. Elsewhere around the National Hockey League, Calgary losing to Toronto. It's now 5-2 in favor of the Maple Leafs. Montreal and Washington skate to a 2-2 draw, while Jersey knocks off the Rangers by a score of 2-1. We'll get you back to Taylor Field after this.
All week, your men gave you 100%. Make that 110. So tonight, you're taking them for a well-deserved night out. There's only one problem. You don't have the Dodge Ram Quad Cab. It's got 4 doors, a choice of 4 powerful engines, and plenty of room for up to 6 people. I feel really close to you guys.
Back at Taylor Field in Regina, Ronnie Lancaster's Tiger Cats has some work to do in the second half. They've been moving the ball, but they haven't been punching in it. He spoke earlier about that to Ray Morrison.
Ron, let's talk a little bit about that first half and with regards to your football club, able to move the ball but unable to come away with points at times.
Yeah, you only get so many chances when you get down in there. We're down there 3 times, had to come away with 3 field goals, and that hurts you. But you can't let teams run kickoff back on you either. You know, so we're all right. We just got to get a little better control of ourselves.
Thanks, Ron.
Okay.
Okay, so he knows the task at hand. I mean, I would think, yes, it's been frustrating, but there must be some encouraging things he's seen in the play of Danny McManus.
Well, absolutely. Danny McManus has played pretty good football game so far tonight. I mean, he's got some running out of Ron Williams, who looked pretty good at times throughout the game. So, you take away the kickoff return, Danny McManus has controlled the football pretty well. So there are a lot of good things, and he's just going to talk to his receivers, say you got to catch the ball a little bit more, and that'll help Danny McManus's numbers get pushed up into the 200 when you look back at some of the drops. And on the other side of the coin, Steve Sarkisian is doing a nice job of controlling the football when he has it. 7 of 12, not huge numbers, but 0 interceptions. And I think with a young quarterback, that may be the most important aspect of your game. Just don't lose confidence by throwing the ball to the wrong colored jersey.
Saskatchewan had deferred the pick, and they have taken the ball here. They'll have the ball in the wind to start the second half. Larry Thompson, big return Thompson to start the second half. Already, the Roughriders are close to scoring position, close to field goal range down to the 48, a 42-yard return for Larry Thompson.
Well, that Jim Daly will be Larry Thompson's biggest cheerleader. He'll be over there trying to cheer him on because Larry Thompson has had a little bit of a reputation following him around throughout the Canadian Football League. Jim Daly has given Thompson another opportunity here in Saskatchewan, and he's really come up for him, and he thinks that Thompson is that last piece to the puzzle in the receiving corps for the Riders.
Larry Thompson played for the Ticats for a while, had a good year, 1,000-yard season with them back in '95. Sarkisian, the throw, good coverage by the Ticats, and it falls incomplete.
Well, I talked about turnovers for Sarkisian. I mean, that's the one. That one's going the other way. If Frank West can come up with the catch. Steve Sarkisian, Frank West has 4 interceptions. He missed a couple games with injuries. He's back. Talked about replacing Orlando Steinauer, but he had his hands on that football and would have been untouched to the end zone.
Ticats first in the CFL in interceptions with 32, and they're missing 2 guys that amount to 13 of them. Eric Carter with 8. And Orlando Steinauer, I'd say, with 8. Carter with 5. Pass is complete. No, dropped by Mike Saunders. Had it in his hands, but he took a pop right away, and so it'll be 3rd down for the Riders.
But you want to know how strong Mike Saunders is? I mean, he takes a big hit here from Reggie Love. Yes, the ball comes out of there, but watch this. Here comes the throw to the outside. Here comes the hit, bang. Didn't even look like it really hurt Saunders.
It's like he was looking around saying, what was that?
It certainly didn't knock him down.
But he did not come up with a football, and we saw late in the first half a tremendous catch Saunders made. He sure can catch it. At times, punt there by Paul McCallum. Taken down at the 15-yard line. Bobby Olive with it. Olive flagging the play, just thrown. And now another one is down as well. He gets it up to the 28-yard line. On a return of 13 yards, so Danny McManus coming out, stopping to check and see what the call is.
Flag on the field.
Well, sometimes you can maybe set goals that are a little too low. I mean, Danny McManus said one of his goals for this game was time of possession. And he's won that battle so far.
Next is the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, now he's got to say time of possession and then scoring when I have the opportunity in the red zone.
Still waiting for the call as they make some explanation. 2 flags down. The return by Bobby Olive.
Holding, Saskatchewan 25. Illegal block, Hamilton 95. 3rd down repeated.
So they'll kick the football again. Curtis Gallick called for holding for Saskatchewan.
Well, the holding must have come on the line of scrimmage and was the first flag, obviously. Therefore, they'll get the opportunity to make Saskatchewan punt the ball over and try and improve on their field position.
Similar kick for McCallum. Wobbly, but a better bounce for him. They'll get no return at all. Out down inside the 15. Danny McManus, as we look at the air attack.
Well, look at the outside. 6 for 9 to the left, 3 for 10 to the right. That's 9 for 19. It's largely due to the fact that Eric Sutton and Todd McMillan doing a pretty good job on the corners containing Andrew Grigg, and for the most part Darren Flutie, who by formation is lined up at wideout. So Danny McManus might have to go to the inside receivers a little bit more often here in the second half.
And Saskatchewan's special teams player and reserve fullback Chris Zarka down on that punt coverage at about the 30-yard line of Hamilton. They've been tending to him around the, looks like the neck area there. We'll see what happens and take a break. We'll be back. Game 1 of the 1998 World Series starting tomorrow night from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. The Padres and the New York Yankees, and they finally get it underway. Kevin Brown against David Wells, and you can join Paul Romanuk and Pat Tabler for all that coverage coming up tomorrow night.
What do you like?
I'll take the Yankees. Take
yeah,
it easy.
Go with the favorites. Okay. Are they the favorite? They're the favorite.
I think they would be.
Yeah, I guess so.
Chris Zarka coming off the field now. Obviously, some sort of
got a
thankfully minor neck injury, but it looks of things.
Got a pain in the neck. Hamilton can be a pain in the neck times.
Well, I'll tell you, Saskatchewan's been a pretty good pain in the neck for Hamilton tonight. And Danny Mack over the middle. First down. Archie Amerson with it. And another first down. He gets up across the 25. So they come up throwing to start the second half. Down by 8 points, hardly insurmountable, and they have been able to move the football. A gain of 12 yards for Amerson.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Archie Amerson a little more involved in the second half as well, because Danny McManus said before the game that against the Saskatchewan defense, you have to be very patient. Take the underneath patterns a lot. Archie Amerson will definitely be featured underneath.
4 to the left, 2 to the right. McManus goes to the right side. Oh, it knocked down Eric Sutton. He has a couple of chances tonight to pick off passes, and that one falling down, but more good coverage there by the Saskatchewan secondary.
Well, we've talked about Eric Sutton and Todd McMillan. You see the end of this play. Time your jump, go up and catch the football. I think there'll be a couple of ball drills for Eric Sutton tomorrow. You know, he's going to have to pay for that, because in the secondary you usually have little side bets with the group, right? It's either push-ups or sit-ups or something. But when you get back the first day of practice, you're going to be doing a little extra work for that drop.
Did you ever get one in the hands you should have had?
Oh, did I ever?
Well, you're admitting it.
Oh, yeah.
McManus completes this one. Archie Amerson gets up across the 30-yard line and closer to another first down. Very close, but not close enough by the looks of things. They'll be kicking it away as Osbaldiston comes on, but Archie Amerson back in July the 30th, the other meeting against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, what's surprising about that is one catch. Archie Amerson, got to get him involved in the passing game. Talked about him catching a few underneath. Well, that's what he's got to do. One catch isn't good enough, although they did win that game.
26-8 going away in the second half. In the final 17 minutes, they had 3 touchdowns in that one to make it a lot more distant looking, lopsided. Terrell Ulmer on the punt return. Cuts up the middle, and good work to slice his way up to the 45-yard line. Saskatchewan football. A return of 10 yards in the Osbaldiston kick. Saskatchewan lead by 8.
The question that is often asked is, will the student become better than the teacher? On your left is the defensive coordinator for Hamilton, Don Southern, and on your right, the defensive coordinator for Saskatchewan, Greg Marshall. Well, at one time, Don Southern coached Greg Marshall when he was a defensive lineman in Ottawa. Don Southern was the defensive coordinator and defensive line coach.
First down Saskatchewan. Mike Saunders gets another first down Saskatchewan across midfield. They're in Hamilton territory on a gain of 12.
So it's Don Southern's turn to do the coaching. His defense is on the field, and then Greg Marshall, the student, will get a chance later on in the game.
His prize pupil Joe Montfort having a tougher game tonight as he did last week against the Calgary Stampeder. First and 10. The Tiger Cat 53. Saskatchewan. 11:17 to go until the third quarter is over. Completes the pass. Looks like Joe Montfort is hurt. That's completed to Dan Farthing on the play for another green and white first down. And Joe Montfort, sorry Glenn, standing back near midfield.
Yeah, he was real slow to get up. He was working with, or fighting with, Sean Daniels on the play. You see Montfort, number 53. He just got the one-on-one on the fullback. He kind of slipped on the play and then
Montfort
really was slow getting up after that. Looked like his knee may have locked out there. Definitely reached for that right leg, but it happened on the slip.
Well, for all the injuries the Ticats have had to deal with, especially on defense for Don Southern, this is even more terrible news. Now, bear in mind that Jeff Cummins is also injured and out up front, and of course they have the injuries to the defensive backs. Joe Montfort with a sizable lead on Montreal's Alfred Payton for the sack lead.
Well, yeah, you see what Joe Montfort has done in the league this year, runaway leader so far, and when you consider Hamilton has 46 sacks, which also leads the CFL. Joe Montfort has almost half of them. That's quite a loss to see him limping off the field. Don Southern obviously has to be concerned when he watches 53 limp like that.
Getting off the field on his own, however, really favoring that leg. Heading off very slowly. And with Saskatchewan moving the football, bad news, I mean, let alone the game, but just this drive not having him in there. The ball at the 39-yard line, Hamilton, after the completion to Dan Farthing.
Well, Tim Fleiser is on the roster, so maybe a chance for him to get into the lineup with Montfort out.
First down, Sarkisian. Shovel pass. Zarka. He looks to be fine. I don't think the neck's bothering him at all as he gets another Saskatchewan first down at the 22.
Well, when you have an injury on the defensive line, call a play that will take advantage of any changes they may make. Now, Tim Fleiser's in the game, but the whole defensive line is the victims here. They get great penetration because the offensive line for Saskatchewan wants them to. They want them to get way down 3-4 yards into the backfield, so that'll open up Zarka coming out of the backfield. He has been their secret weapon. Little screen passes or shovel passes, just like you saw there, have been pretty effective with Chris Zarka.
Another first down. Sarkisian airing it out. Touchdown, Riders. And it's Usman Tunkara.
Well, when you're in a must-win, it's nice to have the lead. We talked about the 13th fan. They're pretty excited here in Saskatchewan right now.
Usman Tunkara, the rookie out of the University of Ottawa, tried the NFL and coming back to the CFL, lands in Saskatchewan and picks up the touchdown, a big touchdown for Saskatchewan.
Well, you know, he's working on Gerald Vaughn, and Gerald Vaughn really hasn't had a chance to see Usman Tunkara very often.
The conversion by Paul McCallum. Saskatchewan has added to its lead thanks to Usman Tunkara from Steve Sarkisian. 24-9 Riders. Play safe. Last year, he was one of the top players in Canadian University football, went to training camp with the Washington Redskins. This year, released before the start of the season and signed on with Saskatchewan. And right now, especially, Jim Daly is glad that he did. With the scoring drive finished off, the pass to Tunkara and a bigger lead for the Riders.
Well, the big play to Zarka that set it up, and then Tunkara comes up with a 22-yard catch, and he's really getting an opportunity to play tonight because Rick Walters was injured last week. He is usually that extra receiver for Saskatchewan, but because of his injury, he had to sit this one out, which gave Usman Tunkara another chance at it, and boy, he takes full advantage.
He had a great year last year with Ottawa U. Sadly for him and another outstanding GG, Chris Abrere, they did not have a good day against UBC. The Thunderbirds dominating and winning the Vanier and Skydome last November. A highlight so far in his young pro career, though, for Usman Tunkara, the touchdown. And the Riders with a 24-9 lead. Playing a great game tonight at Taylor Field against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who have the ball on a good return by Ronald Williams up at the 44-yard line. Return of 23 yards.
Well, when you go back to that touchdown from Usman Tunkara, he did a nice job, especially as a rookie, to read that Rob Hitchcock was out of the middle of the safety position, and Sarkisian finds him, and it really is just an opportunity for him to get into the middle because there's no safety help. When you go to this, look, you see Thompson, Larry Thompson going down the seam on the other side. Well, Rob Hitchcock to the right of your screen right there went the wrong way.
Tiger Cats in a bigger hole now. Speaking of big holes, there's one for Ronald Williams. Still on his feet and across the 40-yard line to the Saskatchewan 38. What a game for Williams so far. A pickup of 28 yards.
Well, yeah, no question about it now. Hamilton Tiger Cats have to try and steal back some momentum, and they have to do it right away if they want a chance to win this football game and keep control of first place in the East Division. This is the key drive for them, no question, and a field goal isn't going to do it.
Too many times tonight, the Tiger Cats have pressed and moved impressively, only to come up with 3 instead of 7. They're on the move again. McManus throwing and incomplete. And a flag on the play as McManus looks on in what has been a very frustrating evening for him. Looks to be going against Saskatchewan.
Offside, Saskatchewan number 90. First down repeated.
Yeah, no question about it. Paul Spicer was lined up offside and then left early. So really could have been, now you watch Paul Spicer. First of all, he's lined up offside right now. And then just before the snap of the ball, he got a little closer. Should have got 10 yards for that one.
Offside twice. Now only 5. But a 1st and 5 for the Cats. McManus hands off. Archie Amerson with the ball and not getting a whole lot.
Paul Spicer just made up for it. What a great job of reading the play and being right there on the spot to make Archie Amerson put the brakes on in a hurry. I mean, Paul Spicer, after a mistake, says, okay, I'm going to cut in here, and I'm going to stop this one in its tracks. Watch the read. He is in the backfield, reads it perfectly, and Amerson has to slam on the air brakes.
So now we'll call it 2nd and 5 out of the shotgun. McManus over to the side. Darren Flutie with a rare catch this evening. Been a tougher game for him, but he does get the first down on a pickup of 7 yards. The sticks move.
And Darren Flutie keeps checking those gloves. He dropped one earlier in the game on a post pattern down the middle. It was a deep ball, and he was wide open and dropped the ball. Has come back, caught a couple here in the second half, and that one keeps the sticks moving for Hamilton.
That tandem has been together a long time in BC, in Edmonton, and now in Hamilton. They've had a lot of success this year, but they haven't hooked up very well tonight. McManus throwing again, looking deep. Touchdown Hamilton, a beautiful catch by Andrew Gregg.
Wow, I mean, it was a perfectly executed play for Hamilton. Grigg makes the big catch. McManus just puts it right on the money. But you know what the great thing that Andrew Grigg did on the play is that he didn't put his hands up too early. When wide receivers go down the deep route, sometimes they have a tendency to stick their hands out when the ball's in the air. Andrew Grigg keeps running. Now watch this. Right at the last minute, he shoots those hands up. Eric Sutton is the corner. He's running beside Andrew Grigg, looking at his hands. When the hands go up, he puts his hands up. Grigg waited long enough, and Sutton had no chance.
And finally, the Tiger Cats find the end zone on the touchdown by Andrew Gregg, and it's converted by Paul Osbaldiston. So they answer appropriately after Saskatchewan had scored on them, shifting the momentum back, and a reason for Ron Lancaster finally to be a little happier tonight.
Well, he's happy because his quarterback had time to throw, and when you give Danny McManus time to throw the football, he can do this to you in a hurry. And right away, he has brought Hamilton back to respond to the Tunkara touchdown for Saskatchewan. You see how Grigg just put his hands up at the end? That is a sign that a guy is coming into his own as a receiver. He's starting to get enough experience to take his game to the next level, and Andrew Grigg has been the pleasant surprise for Ron Lancaster in Hamilton this season.
So Lancaster's Tiger Cats get it back to within 8 points. 6:58 to go until quarter time. And Paul Osbaldiston to kick it off. From the 35. Into that wind. It just dies up there in the air. Comes down to the 25. It's bobbled. Tyrell Ulmer lost control of the ball and does fall on it back at the 31. A reminder, after the game, we will bring you the TSN Turning Point. Brought to you by Super 8. Life is great at Super 8. Saskatchewan has the football. Sarkisian will scrimmage from his own 31. Last time they had it, they drove down, and Sarkisian hit Usman Tunkara for a touchdown. They gave him 24 points on the night. They lead by 8 now. Under pressure, fires, intercepted. Calvin Tiggle. Another big break. Hamilton, he's still on the move, and he rumbles out at the Saskatchewan 20. Talk about your turning points, perhaps.
Well, you're right, Rod. I mean, no question about this. This could be the one that they'll look back on here in Saskatchewan. Calvin Tiggle was just flowing to the football as Sarkisian rolls out. This is what happens now. Calvin Tiggle right here is going to drop, and as Sarkisian rolls, he moves to the left with him. And I think it was just a ball that was thrown in behind the intended target. You see how Calvin Tiggle will start to slide? Now he starts to move. He's going to roll to the left with him. Keep moving over there. That ball was just thrown in behind Don Narcisse, and Tiggle is the first guy to cut him off to the football.
And the first big mistake for Steve Sarkisian, we'll see exactly how costly it is. Ronald Williams up the middle again. Another big gain. He takes it down to the 6-yard line. 15 yards.
You know, I was joking with Ron Lancaster about his running game and how he loves to throw the football. You know, quarterbacks always love to throw the football. And he said, you know, it's true. I mean, we need to involve Ronald Williams and Archie Amerson in the running game. But if you check the stats, we do attempt a lot of runs. And so I did that. At times rushed by Hamilton. They're 4th in the league. So they do run the football. It just doesn't look like it all the time.
Boy, they're running it well tonight, and they run it again here. Ronald Ronald Williams, touchdown Ticats. And with a convert pending, it could be a 14-point turnaround for Hamilton to cut this lead to just 1.
Wow, when you're watching a CFL game, don't blink or you could miss 14 points. I mean, holy smokes, just within very short amount of time, the Ticats have 14 points on the board. This is the play, a little toss to Ronald Williams, and he's deep enough to be able to read the blocking and cuts back at the appropriate time and finds himself in the end zone.
Well, there's still lots of time, but the Ticats, obviously within 2, might as well go for the tie because they're still within a field goal of the win. So they go for the 2, and they get it.
Wow.
Darren Flutie takes it from Danny McManus, and all of a sudden, it is a 24-24 game.
Well, Darren Flutie likely got a choice route here, and what that means is it's up to Darren Flutie to decide. If the defensive back plays you inside, you break out. If he plays you outside, you break in. That's why Tyrell Almer was on the inside. Flutie went out and caught the football.
And a silence falling over chilly Taylor Field tonight. Just moments ago, it was 24-9 Saskatchewan in control after the Tunkara touchdown. Well, lots of time, 5:11 in the third quarter, but Jim Daly's Roughriders have a game now.
You always wonder, you always talk about coaches staying calm on the sideline, and Ron Lancaster, one of the best in the business at just staying calm no matter what the situation, because that's how fast it can turn around for you, especially in the CFL. Stay calm, stick with your game plan. Danny McManus has done it, Ron Lancaster has done it, and all of a sudden, it's a 24-all ball game.
Well, you see the smile a bit on McManus's face, but with Lancaster, he could be up by 30 or down by 30, and you'd never know. Right now, he's tied. And fired up coverage there by the Ticats. Jared Smith, product of the University of Waterloo, in on the tackle there after a 13-yard return.
Well, I think that Danny McManus was smiling on the sideline because of this play. When you're a quarterback and you get plays out of your middle linebacker like this and field position that Calvin Tiggle gave the Hamilton Tiger Cats, you're going to sit back there over on the bench and smile for the rest of the football game, because that set up this touchdown to Ronald Williams, and it's a tie game.
Tremendous game for Williams on the ground as well, and that's been a big part of that Hamilton offense tonight. 24-24. And getting later in the third quarter. What a game we've got here at Taylor Field. Short yardage. Mike Saunders with the ball, but that looks like a more fired up Ticat defense as well.
Well, they definitely fired up. I mean, now they're in a tie football game. They're playing without Joe Mumford, who's on the sideline. Tim Fleiser's had to come in and replace him, and that really sets up 2 changes for Don Southern, because Joe Mumford usually plays to the wide side of the field. Now what's going to happen is Gonzalo Floyd has to switch to the wide side of the field. Tim Fleiser plays the short side, so it's really made 2 changes in the defensive line.
2nd and 7. Riders 4 to the right. Sarkisian looking that way. And he's got a man, Dan Farthing. Complete. First down Saskatchewan. Looking to turn this momentum back their way. They're up close to midfield.
Well, it's good that Steve Sarkisian, if you're a Rider fan, came back and threw that ball, because it was the same type of play that he threw the interception to Calvin Tiggle, rolling to his right and throwing on the run, and this time he hooks up. So that should get his confidence right back where it has to be if Saskatchewan wants a chance to win this football game.
Cal 18 yards, sorry, Glenn.
Yeah, Cal Murphy's Rod will likely be telling that to Sarkisian. Go back to the same play, it was there.
On the toss to Saunders on first down, gets across midfield, but not much more. A gain of about 2 yards for Saskatchewan. Gerald Vaughn in on the tackle.
Well, Gerald Vaughn had a huge game the last time these 2 teams played each other. And there's what he did the last time. 8 tackles, couple knockdowns, had a nice pick, and then he got into this game, was playing pretty well, and then he saw a rookie line up on the other side, Ousmane Tunkara. Didn't know a whole lot about him and found himself chasing him into the end zone. So he'll make a mental note on Ousmane Tunkara and play him a little tighter the rest of the night.
88 green and white. Gotcha. Now they go strong to the left. Sarkisian looking over the middle, deep over the middle. Good coverage, though. It's intercepted again. Another good defensive play, and it's Gerald Vaughn with his 5th interception of the season.
Well, there was pressure on Sarkisian. Gerald Vaughn comes up with the interception just as we talk about him, which is nice for him to do that. But a good stun up here. Watch the stun up front by Gonzalo Floyd to come around and down the middle. Takes one step, comes around, and he is open. Sarkisian feels him and has to throw it, adjust his throwing motion, and then he throws it right to Gerald Vaughn. Larry Thompson had no chance to get it. He just has to come up and make the tackle. Because of the pressure from Gonzalo Floyd on the stunt, Sarkisian threw it when he didn't have to. All of a sudden, back-to-back interceptions.
Reggie Slack in that game July 30th at Iverwin Stadium threw 4 interceptions and proved to be very costly in Hamilton's win over the Green Riders as they hand off on first down. And a short gain there for Ronald Williams. But 4 picks, Reggie Slack, and actually had a 5th that was called back because of an offside penalty. But now 2 interceptions by Steve Sarkisian, and both costly, one leading to a touchdown.
Well, this is what you want to do when you have to flop your defensive ends. You're going to see Gonzalo Floyd come all the way around on the stunt, right? Now, when you have to flop your ends, because Gonzalo Floyd is usually the short side end, you might as well stunt him a few times, get him into a more comfortable position.
Out of the shotgun, McManus on second down. Gets away from the pressure. Nearly intercepted. That one falls incomplete, intended for Darren Flutie, but Shannon Garrett is there to knock it away.
Yeah, when you're playing on the short side of the field, and because Danny McManus rolled out to that side, you have to throw the ball on time. Danny McManus rolls to the short side, and I think Darren Flutie really just ran out of room. Shannon Garrett didn't have to cover too much ground, so he was standing right beside him and then wins the fight to the football.
So best case scenario for the Riders after the interception. Hamilton will have to punt. Osbaldiston standing at his 20. Larry Thompson back there, as is Tyrell Ulmer. 1:33 to go until three-quarter time in a tie football game, and a low driving kick, and it bounces by Ulmer. Did he touch it? Yes, a flag in the play. I guess he didn't. They're going to call the no yards. It looked like he had touched the ball, and that will be the argument for the Ticats.
Well, they're definitely going to argue it, and they're going to have a conference to see if any of the other officials saw as to whether or not Tyrell Ulmer touched the football.
The Cats thought Ulmer had touched it. They went after it, and then the flag came out for no yards.
Well, both the coaches, Ron Lancaster and Jim Daly, were in a...
No yards. Hamilton 86. First down.
Trevor Shaw was going for it, but he gets penalized. And what could have been another bad break for Jim Daly and a good one for Ron Lancaster. Instead, penalty going against Hamilton.
Well, they were in a heated discussion yesterday, not towards each other, but towards the officials. They were both talking about missed opportunities a week ago. Ron Lancaster had a pass interference against Reggie Love, which he didn't think was interference call. And of course, we talked about the Mo Elwanibi catch for a touchdown that Jim Daly was upset about. So they had a real discussion about it yesterday.
Sarkisian will have another minute with the win, then he'll be against it in the fourth quarter. Saunders on the catch, but very little, if anything, on the game. The ball being scrimmaged at the 51.
Well, you know, early in the game, Mike Saunders was touching the ball a whole lot, and he hasn't that often in this second half. You got to get the ball to Mike Saunders, especially in first down. Remember, we talked about first down help for Steve Sarkisian. 32 in the green jersey is the key to that. You get 5 or 6 from Mike Saunders on first down, you got a chance.
So it's 2nd and 10, Saskatchewan, up near midfield. Sarkisian wanted Larry Thompson. It falls down incomplete at the 20. Don Narcisse was in the area as well.
Derek Greer is doing a nice job of coverage. He has all season, 4 interceptions. He was on Thompson. He wasn't going to let him out. Watch the bump and run. Here comes Narcisse to the outside. Let him go. And then as he sees him go down the sideline, he'll turn around and see Thompson break on the football. No chance for that to happen. Derek Greer has a lot to play for, because Derek Greer has his first child on the way. You know, with the responsibility of family comes, you know, you have to play a few more years in the Canadian Football League.
Anticipating fatherhood. Derek Greer, and now Joe Higgins on the punt return. Good return for Higgins. Seen some nice returns tonight. And that one gets back up near midfield across the Hamilton 50-yard line. Zeros on the clock. We're out of time in the third quarter, and what a comeback by the Tiger Cats. It's now 24-24. Let's go back to Friday Night Football control.
You're watching Adidas Friday Night Football, and we're at the quarter.
Welcome back to TSN Football Control. Well, if you're a Rider fan and you were feeling pretty good about 10 minutes ago and then you had to step out to the garage or something, I got some bad news. 2 Hamilton TDs in 46 seconds, 2 interceptions in 3 plays. What the heck happened, Eric Tillman?
Well, James, after a good first half, Steve Sarkisian looked like a rookie in that third quarter. There was no question about that. But let's give some credit to Hamilton as well. They made plays. As we said at halftime, it's gut check time for them. They had to respond. They came out and did it. They got the 2 touchdowns, as you alluded to, in 1 minute, and they're back in this game. Looks like we've got a great fourth quarter, Chris.
Yeah, I think we do have a great fourth quarter. I think Hamilton has a big advantage for a couple of reasons. Number one, they have Ronald Williams. So if this game gets ahead, they have the ability to use their running back and truly control the clock. He has 18 carries for 128 yards. And remember, this is a football team that has 7 wins, 0 losses, and only 1 tie when they have a running back over 100 yards. Williams is over 100 yards. Also, they have Danny McManus. So let's say they fall behind. They have a quarterback that does not have a fear of really going aggressively downfield and can score quick. Hamilton has an advantage going into this game. Perhaps a special team big play for Saskatchewan, Curtis Mayfield. That's what they need.
Well, one other interesting stat for the Ticats. The fourth quarter has been their best quarter all season long. It's been the Green Riders' worst quarter by far. They've given up 152 points on the season. Fourth quarter action now. Here's Rod and Glenn.
Okay, thank you, James. And something Chris Schultz was just talking about, and Glenn, you talked about earlier in this game. When they can run the football, they win the games. They haven't lost when they've had somebody carry for over 100 yards, and there he is, Ronald Williams. He's cracked the 100-yard barrier.
Yeah, now they have the wind at their back, which means, even though it's a slight breeze, which means even if the Hamilton Tiger Cats now have to punt the football or have to punt the football at all through this quarter, they will have the advantage at field position because you can get more behind the punt, obviously.
I find it interesting that Saskatchewan chose to take the football to start the second half because they had deferred the choice, and they could have had the win for this fourth quarter.
They had the choice, but sometimes when you have a lead, you can think, you know what, we take the football, it's not that big of a win, and if we can score quickly, we can bury them. It may backfire now.
Well, they did score, but Hamilton scored more often in that third quarter. Out of the shotgun, McManus with the ball, looking deep, but that is overthrown. Intended for Archie Amerson down at the 10-yard line. Third quarter numbers in a 24-24 game. Well, first down's not close, and time of possession still favoring the Cats.
Well, this is where it starts to wear on the Saskatchewan defense. We talked about Danny McManus saying the time of possession was important. Well, at a time there, we thought that scoring would be more important. But then when you look at the defense for Saskatchewan, now in the fourth quarter, those big boys up front start to suck a little air. They've been on the field an awful long time here tonight.
And 2 turnovers by the green and white, one by Calvin Tagle, leading to a Hamilton touchdown. The other one snuffing out some good Rider momentum, even though the Ticats didn't come back and score on that one. McManus throwing again, once again overthrown, not even close. And an argument ensues a bit with Darren Flutie there on the coverage.
Okay, you know what? And I've been accused often of defending defensive backs. Well, Darren Flutie should have got the call. No question about it. On the backside, it was a formation we talked about earlier with Darren Flutie one-on-one on the bottom of your screen working on Sutton. Eric Sutton is going to get the one-on-one the coverage. Now, when the ball is in the air, Sutton was grabbing Darren Flutie. He had his hands all over his jersey. I watched it from start to finish, and Eric Sutton got away with one.
What a fourth quarter in store here at Taylor Field in a tie game, and Osbaldiston punts once again. A low driving one that just bounces. Larry Thompson takes it. Not a very far punt with the wind, but it's taken up to the 30-yard line. That's where the Green Riders will go to work. Tied at 24. Adidas Friday Night Football. On this Friday night at Taylor Field, you have been watching the 1,000th game in the history of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, going back to 1910 and a winning record along the way. And since the formation of the Canadian Football League, regular season games, 622 of them, and just under 500 there. And the most loyal fans you will find in the CFL cheering on with Rider pride again tonight in a tight game. 24-24, a game that means so much to Saskatchewan and their playoff hopes. On the handoff. And not much doing for Mike Saunders there on the first down, gain of about 2 yards. Joe Montford back down in the field. Let's get an update now from Ray Morrison, right?
Okay, Rod, thanks a lot. They iced up Joe Montford's hip as he came down to the Hamilton bench, and they also taped a strap to his knee, kind of a brace to his knee. So he injured his hip, and then it was stepped on by one of the riders in the knee area, but he has it all taped up, stretched it up in the break here, and he's back out in the field. Rod.
All right, thank you. So in a game this tight now, Hamilton's defense needs everything. Saskatchewan's done a good job moving this football. Sarkisian throwing again. Another completion. Another first down up at the 47-yard line.
Well, it's tough to keep a good man down. We just heard Ray talk about Joe Mumford returning to the lineup, and he had 2 injuries on that play. He was hurt, and then he returns to the lineup, taped up. Knee injury is a long way from your heart. Look at the effort to get to Sarkisian just as he threw the football.
Not a sack, but he bullies him. And to Sarkisian's credit, he completes it. 13 yards to Dan Farthing, so it's a first down from the Rough Rider 48. 12:33 on the clock. They try to set up a screen. It's knocked down by Gonzalo Floyd. That little pass attempted to Chris Zarka.
Well, Chris Zarka is real upset with Gonzalo Floyd because that's his play. Chris Zarka's made some big yards on this play. What he does is he checks and then heads out for the screen. He's going to be right here. He's going to check and then go over here for the screen. Chris Zarka doesn't have a chance to catch it. A little play action, then he'll slip out to the right. But watch the great effort from his knees. Gonzalo Floyd just taps that one away. And right afterwards, Zarka pushed him in the back, said, hey, that's the only play I have in the playbook. You can't do that.
You're not supposed to do that. Yeah. Sarkisian rolling out to his left under pressure. Oh, they nearly get him. Joe Montford nearly gets him, and Sarkisian has no choice but just to take it out of bounds.
Tremendous effort from Joe Montford with 2 injuries. We talked about his hip pointer and his knee, and Sarkisian uses pretty good speed to get the outside. But watch the second effort by Joe Montford, who will start to chase him down and then lay out to try and pull him down by the ankles. Sarkisian keeps his balance, but that's pretty good effort from a guy who's got 2 injuries and he's still playing.
So the Riders will have to punt. McCallum at his 36 in a tie game, and it's getting late at Taylor Field. Into the wind. Bobby Olive watches it roll out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Hamilton. Danny Mack and the Ticats get the ball back in Adidas Friday Night Football.
Welcome back to TSN tonight. We'll get you back to Taylor Field and the conclusion of that football game in a moment or two. Big night in the National Hockey League. 7 games on the slate, including the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Calgary Flames. This one is not even close. Mike Johnson already with 1 goal in the game. We pick it up late in the first. 3-0 Toronto. Johnson walks in all alone. Kenny Reggett. Yeah, nice effort. 4-0 Leafs. Second period, 4-1 Toronto. Iginla sends it off a skate past Potvin, his first of the year. That narrows the gap to 4-2, but the Leafs pull away once more. Jason Smith spots Ty Domi. The Leafs have just won it. It is now a final 7-3. Meanwhile, Montreal and Washington, they skate to a 2-2 draw. It was the Rangers losing to Jersey tonight by a score of 2-1. Detroit all over St. Louis by a score of 4-1. And Philadelphia knocks off Tampa Bay by a count of 5-2. The next edition of The Desk is at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. We return you to Adidas Friday Night Football after this.
The Fall Wood Pro Sale from Stihl. Save right now on selected Stihl chainsaws starting at just $299.95 and get a Wood Pro kit valued at over $75 absolutely free. Stihl, built to last, priced to sell.
Psoriasis, seborrheic dermatitis, dandruff. Symptom, persistent, itchy, flaky scalp. Solution, Neutrogena T-Gel. It works. Neutrogena T-Gel Shampoo.
1,000 games in Saskatchewan Rough Rider history, and many played by the Little General. Ronnie Lancaster from 63 to 78, I would believe the most revered figure in the history of the Saskatchewan Rough Riders.
Oh, 1,000 games in history, and I think number 23 played in 900 of them. I mean, he played for what, 19 seasons?
This is Empire Stadium in Vancouver. Ronnie Lancaster, 3 years after his arrival, leading them to a victory over the Ottawa Roughriders, Saskatchewan's first Grey Cup.
And that guy he threw to was Al Ford, who's the guy he's trying to beat right now. He's the general manager, of course, for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and Ron Lancaster would like to beat him here tonight.
Gain of 6 by Archie Amerson. But it's the 1,000th game in Saskatchewan Roughrider history. And you look at what they've done since 1961, you see a losing record. However, in the 60s, that Saskatchewan team under Lancaster really got strong. They won the Grey Cup in 66, and they lost in the Grey Cup in 67 and again in 72 to a team happened to be the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The one in 72 was awfully close, 13-10.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Taylor Field is the house that Ron built. At least Ron and George, maybe.
You know, Lancaster had so much success, of course, George Reed.
Yeah.
One of the all-time great running backs, number 34. But, you know, for all the success Lancaster has had, not only as a player, as a coach as well, lest we forget, his indoctrination into coaching was not exactly successful at all.
No, well, you know, you talk about his first 2 seasons as a head coach for Saskatchewan, both 2 and 14 years. And since then, he has been in double figures in wins as a head coach. So he got it straight after a couple of years and some time up here in the booth.
You got it. Maybe that helps.
Yeah.
Maybe coaching is in store for you.
No.
Another Rough Rider great. Well, how's this? Great stuff for Dwayne Patterson. On the sack there of Danny McManus.
Well, it's a good effort by Dwayne Patterson because we talked about how long they've been on the field. Those big guys are the first guys to tire, but Dwayne Patterson just keeps on coming. He's from the top right of your screen. He's just going to keep working up the field, cut underneath. Danny McManus right in the middle of the back. 9th sack of the season for Dwayne Patterson. Really been the leader up front for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And now would be a good time to do that again. 9:42 on the clock. They hand off to Williams inside, and he does not get even close to a first down, getting back after the loss to the original line of scrimmage. Andrew Stewart making the tackle there on Ronald Williams, and the Ticats indeed will be punting.
Well, Andrew Stewart did a great job of fighting off the block of a pretty good football player in Carl Coulter. Andrew Stewart is right in here. He's going to be head-to-head with Carl Coulter, the center. Fights off that block, then works to the outside, and with his left arm, pulls down Ronald Williams, who weighs in at 215 pounds and is one of the most powerful tailbacks you'll ever see. Andrew Stewart, pretty strong left arm there.
Larry Thompson back. Tyrell Ulmer for this kick of Paul Osbaldiston from his 35. A good punt. Ulmer takes it at his 25. Right side. He's got some room. Still on his feet. Tyrell Ulmer. One man to beat. Still going. Ulmer. The 10. The 5. Touchdown Roughriders.
The play was pretty.
85 yards, Tyrell Ulmer, and the Roughriders have the lead again.
Tyrell Ulmer is a tremendous all-around athlete. He is their starting halfback. This year he's played safety. He's played the dime. Anywhere Saskatchewan has asked him, he's stepped up, and I guess he can return the ball a little bit as well.
Their second touchdown tonight on special teams, and this one is oh so big with 8:45 to go in the fourth quarter. Saskatchewan 31, Hamilton 24. Tyrell Ulmer has just given the Saskatchewan Roughriders a 31-24 lead, returning a punt. 85 yards for a touchdown. On a night of big plays, it could be the biggest. It certainly is the biggest one yet. And on the kickoff taken by Archie Amerson at his 20, and he is tackled. taken down there by Mike Moore. And a flag on the play. Some tempers flaring a little bit as well up at the 35-yard line.
Tyrell Ulmer sets up the blocks nicely, heads to the outside, and then it's just a foot race. He beats the last possible tackler, and Paul Osbaldiston is in the end zone. Tyrell Ulmer, I talked about how great of an athlete Ulmer is. He's been asked to play almost every position in the secondary this year, and really should be a consideration for an all-star at the halfback position, simply because of what Saskatchewan has asked him to do. Whatever they've asked of him, he has come up big. They asked him tonight to return kicks. He does that. He gets in the end zone. They asked him to play different positions in the secondary, and early in his career, he played offense. That's how versatile Tyrell Ulmer is.
Let's have a look at the game story now, brought to you by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. And a couple of big plays on special teams, most recently Tyrell Ulmer, but a lot of things going on tonight, Glenn.
Absolutely. I mean, look at the Mayfield play early in the game. Ulmer with the 85-yard punt return. You know, Ron Williams has had a good game, and there's lots of football left to play. It'll be interesting to see how much more he'll be involved now with the Ticats down. They still do have the win, and they have the football. So lots of football left in this game.
Earlier in the game in the first half, this was also a bit of a game breaker for Saskatchewan early on.
Yeah, Curtis Mayfield untouched all the way down the field on a kickoff return. You know, Ron Lancaster, you talk to him and he say, well, we think we've straightened out the penalty situation that we've had problems with the last couple of weeks, and think we pretty much got everything under control now. Offensively, we're pretty happy. And then all of a sudden, another one crops up, and now he has a problem with his coverage teams in both kickoffs and punts.
Now, there were penalties on that return by Archie Amerson, but they cancel each other out. Rough play against the Roughriders and the Ticats, so the ball stands at the 35-yard line for the Ticats, and Jim Daly's team has a lead again in a game that they really do have to win if they want to have any realistic chance of making the playoffs.
Well,
these were the keys for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, talking about keys for Saskatchewan to win. Improved tackling. They have definitely done that. Now, Ron Williams has had a pretty good game, but they've done a good job on coverage teams. Saunders involved. Seen him be involved. And the big plays. Well, that may be the biggest turnaround right there, because we have seen two tonight. When you talk about Mayfield and Tyrell Ulmer.
Well, McManus and the Ticats have answered it before. Going to see if they can do it now. Midway through this fourth quarter, a flag on the play. Under pressure, loses the football. The Cats have it back. Val St. Germain picks it up, but a big loss for the Ticats. As mentioned, a flag on the field with the snap of the football.
Number 57.
You heard the 13th fan involved. The fans here in Saskatchewan.
Offside, Hamilton 82. Penalties declined, second down.
Well, you might want to credit that one to the fans here at Taylor Field, because Danny McManus was starting to bark out the signals. The crowd got really right in there is Darren Flutie. The fans got really loud, and as they did, he likely didn't hear the snap count.
So it's second and 22 after the loss. McManus losing the football, and they do recover, but much deeper. Needs a big one. Gets a big one. What a big hit. Mario Smith on Mike Morreale. He took the pop, but he's psyched up because he hung on to the football.
Oh, boy. Well, this one's got to make the highlight reels as one of the great catches in the league this year. Mike Morreale took as big a hit as you can take from the receiver position. Mario Smith will drop the shoulder. Bang! How Morreale hung on to that football, I have no idea.
And a first down for Hamilton. The gain of 22. Archie Amerson, sorry, Glenn, with the football up near midfield.
Talk about a game of big plays. Wow, Tyrell Ulmer comes back with that punt return for a touchdown to give Saskatchewan what seems to be all the momentum. Well, Mike Morreale may have just grabbed a bunch back with that catch over the middle. I mean, I cannot emphasize enough how tough that is to hang on to a football when you get hit like that.
What does that do to you as a safety when you give him everything you got and he gets up and laughs and does a dance about it?
Well, Mario Smith was still shaking his head.
Unbelievable. The handoff Jamerson. Big hole, big gain. And another first down for the Tiger Cats. Momentum has been swinging back and forth all night.
Lancaster remains cool and calm on the sideline because he knows offensively, and you got guys like Mike Morreale and Archie Amerson, you have the potential to score in a hurry. Saw the quick 14 points they scored to tie the football game up. So despite the fact that his special teams have struggled, offensively, they have the ball and they're on a roll.
The Ticats are down by 7. If they can win this game, they go a long way towards securing first in the East. If Saskatchewan loses and BC wins later this weekend, the Riders are out. They lead by 7. Andrew Grigg, what a great catch. Another big play, and that one is a first down inside the 10-yard line.
2 big plays. I mean, Andrew Grigg comes up with a huge catch. Now, he doesn't get hit, but he has to fight with the defensive back down the sideline. McManus throws it up and to the outside. But Andrew Grigg has to adjust his body and go up over Eric Sutton to catch it in. And this is earlier with Morreale catching this ball across the middle after taking the big hit from Mario Smith. I mean, 2 big plays, one from Andrew Grigg down the sideline, one from Morreale, and all of a sudden, Hamilton has a chance to tie it up.
And the energy Saskatchewan got out of that punt return touchdown seems so distant now. 5:36 on the clock. Williams. Touchdown, Tiger Cats.
Oh, boy.
And they answer right back.
Williams.
Wow.
Wow is the word. Holy smoke. Is wow a word?
It is now.
Oh, man.
I just invented it.
Okay. Well, it works here. Jim Daly saw his team battle back with the Tyrell Ulmer touchdown, and then all of a sudden, this quickly, Ron Williams responds. Good blocking downfield. Carl Coulter takes out Ken Benson. Ron Williams is in the end zone untouched.
Like a prize fight, they're slugging it out, standing in the middle of the ring, toe to toe, shot for shot, and would tie game again at 31 with just over 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Well, you know, huge plays from the receiving core of the Hamilton Tiger Cat offense. I mean, you think about the Andrew Grigg catch, the Mike Morreale catch, momentum changers. You know, you don't have to score a touchdown to change momentum for your football team. They had just been scored on, and then this happens. You get some key plays from your receivers. Right up on the top, Mike Morreale right here. One more look at this. How he catches this ball and hangs on after a hit like that is amazing. And then Andrew Grigg, later on in the series down the sideline, fights off Eric Sutton, comes up with another big catch, and then finally Ron Williams caps it off. And just like that, the Hamilton Tiger Cats have answered, and it's a tie ball game.
That Tyrell Ulmer punt return does indeed seem a long time ago. Saskatchewan will be getting the football back right now as Osbaldiston kicks it off in a 31-31 game. Mike Saunders gets a block. Still on his feet. Across the 40. Great return, Saunders. Saskatchewan will have some good field position to work with on a 33-yard return.
Well, there's the scoring drive for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and there's not enough room under the key play category to put them all. So we'll put up the Mike Morreale catch because he got the headache in the series and still came up with 23 huge yards for his team.
Going to need a big keychain to put all these key plays on. Just one of many. And the clock ticking down to the 5-minute mark. What a dandy finish it looks like we're in store for here on Adidas Friday Night Football from Taylor Field in Regina. Sarkisian. It's complete. Larry Thompson. Near first down yardage. Up to about the 48. He'll be about a half-yard shy.
Well, tomorrow when Mike Morreale tries to get out of bed, his head will be pounding, and it'll be because of this hit that he took over the middle. I mean, that hit is as big as they come in all of football. And I don't care what league you're talking about, bang. And Mike Morreale hung on to the football. You know what? Hamilton Tiger Cats win the game, and, you know, every team gives the game ball to one player. If they win this game, Mike Morreale would be my vote for the game ball after hanging on to the football and that kind of hit.
That made such a statement with, as said, the little dance he did afterwards, how psyched up, as if he was the one laying the licking.
And you know what? That is frustrating, Ron, on a defense. We talked about, you showed Mario Smith there shaking his head after the play. Boy, when you hit a guy that hard, he gets up, gets the first down, and the sticks continue to move. Boy, I tell you what.
Well, that was another first down for Saskatchewan by Larry Thompson. It was enough on a play-action fake over on the right side. Complete. Chris Sarka. And a gain of about 3 yards on the play. It'll be second down and long for Saskatchewan.
Well, now it's pretty simple for Steve Sarkisian. He has to control the football, try and burn up the rest of the clock. I mean, obviously it's a tie football game. It's his turn with the ball and his turn to move the ball down the field. What he wants to do is, after that big drive, Jim Daly saying to Sarkisian, just listen. Control the ball, stick with the game plan. Don Southern, we may see try and change things up here and maybe send a little bit of pressure. See if Sarkisian can handle it.
Call it 2nd and 5. Not so long for the Roughriders on the move, but early movement there by John Terry and a flag on the play. This will go against Saskatchewan.
Well, sometimes offensive linemen get a little anxious.
Illegal procedure, Saskatchewan 51.
Sometimes they get a little anxious. They got to block the guy in front of them, so they get a little anxious. Sometimes they just get the wrong snap count, and I think Cal Murphy will look at that film and say he must not have had the snap count because John Terry was 4 yards downfield when the ball was snapped. Two veteran coaches going head-to-head right now. Cal Murphy offensively for Saskatchewan, Don Southern defensively. Boy, that's two pretty good football minds going at it right now.
Bear in mind, Saskatchewan is working against a wind, and of course, with the clock ticking down to the 3-minute mark, field goals loom. That is a big catch there on a first down. Donald Narcisse with it, and the sticks do move. A big play for the green and white.
He has been quiet so far tonight. He's working on the rookie Reggie Love, and when you need a big play, go to your veteran. Don Narcisse, if the ball is close to him, will come up with the catch. Sarkisian knew it, and he needed a big one with 2nd and long facing him. He goes down the middle right there to Don Narcisse.
The 3-minute warning goes. Left in the 4th quarter in a game that is tied at 31. We'll be back. Nail-biting time for a head coach. Ron Lancaster, Jim Daly, especially Jim Daly, because this could be the season should BC win later on this weekend if they can't win this game tonight.
Well, both coaches have walked about 100 miles up and down those sidelines here tonight, and they're still pacing. As this one winds down, I mean, Jim Daly has a little bit of home field advantage here. We talked about the wind early in the 4th. It was gusting pretty hard, but in this quarter it seems to have died right down. So Jim Daly must have called somebody upstairs and said, hey, for this drive, could you shut down the wind?
That is good news for Saskatchewan now. It was gusting a lot stronger earlier on as they hand off.
Ball carrier this time, number 20.
On first down, gain of about 4 or 5 yards. Game story. So many stories so far in this game, Glenn.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, that's been the story so far. 2 quick touchdowns by Hamilton in the 3rd quarter to tie the game, and then Ulmer breaks the punt return, an 85-yarder, and then, boy, Hamilton responds with the big Morreale catch, the Andrew Grigg catch, and then Ron Williams scored the touchdown, and we're all tied up. So the next page in the story will turn here as it winds down.
2:37 clock winding down from the 40. It would be a 47-yard field goal try, but they gain more yards. And a first down. Chris Sarka down inside the 20. A flag on the play, though, and it looks like it's going against Saskatchewan.
Wow.
Hold your mittens.
That
penalty marker
is huge.
Holding, Saskatchewan 67.
Dan Comiskey gets the call, and I believe he was working on Willie Whitehead. It's going to be right there at the top of your screen. You see the right arm of Comiskey around the neck of Willie Whitehead.
17 now, Jim.
No question that this is holding. You got to keep within the frame. Whitehead gets to the outside, and Comiskey's got his hand right around the neck and won't let Whitehead go. That's the penalty.
It'll be second down and long. Sarkisian not first down yardage. Looking for Darren Joseph over on the right.
Joseph over there, incomplete.
And this is now a punting situation in what looked like a field goal situation.
You think of the impact of a penalty at the wrong time. Chris Zarka had not only got the first down for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but he had also moved the football down around the 20-yard line for Hamilton, which was automatic field goal position, but with the potential to put in the major. Now, Saskatchewan looking at a punting situation with Danny McManus coming on the field, a chance to control the rest of the football game.
Nice low spiral, though, by Paul McCallum, taken by Bobby Alla. At his 15, not much further, across to about the 18-yard line. So it's a long field to work with for Danny McManus and the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Well, this is what Jim Daly had. I mean, here was the play to Chris Zarka. Jim Daly watched this happen. Zarka catches the ball with second effort, gets the football way down into Hamilton territory, right around the 20-yard line. In fact, inside the 20. But because of this holding right up at the top by Dan Comiskey on Willie Whitehead with the hand right around the neck, the play is called back, and Saskatchewan is forced to punt.
The scoreboard clock says 2:10. The game is tied at 31. Hamilton football. It's caught. Bobbled and caught, and a first down Ticats. It's Morreale again.
Well, you go back in a football game at the end of the day, and you'll say 2 or 3 plays change the outcome of every game. You can look back to the Comiskey holding call, and then maybe this one. Tyrell Ulmer, who has had a tremendous football game here tonight, had a chance to pick that ball off and take it back. It went through his hands. Morreale catches it at the other end.
A gain of 16. It's up to the 35. Ticats with a little more breathing room. 147 and ticking. Incomplete on the first down. Attempted for Archie Amerson.
Well, Danny McManus was talking to Archie Amerson about maybe possibly breaking that route off a little shorter. Looked like he's through it on time. Amerson got pushed a little bit deep because of the zone coverage, right beside the other receiver on the play. So Lancaster needs them to be clicking on all cylinders, especially in this series, to kill the clock and get in field goal range for the win.
Lancaster's Ticats trailed at one point in the third quarter by 15, and they quickly rallied and tied the score. It's been close since. Under pressure, McManus gets away and gets the ball away. He wants Darren Flutie. Oh, just beyond the outstretched arms of Flutie down inside the Saskatchewan 30, but instead they'll be punting it away.
Well, the battle in the trenches continues. That time, Danny McManus had a chance to buy some time for himself. Found a hole, and somehow found a hole with the pass rush coming all around him. Just couldn't hook up downfield with Darren Flutie.
Clock showing 1:34. Osbaldiston at his 20. Larry Thompson back. Tyrell Ulmer back. Excuse me, Mike Saunders back for it. Ulmer had the last one returning for a touchdown. It'll go to Thompson at the 32, and a short return this time. He's content just to step out and save some clock and see what they can do with the football. 1:25 showing.
Well, with the way that the Hamilton Tiger Cats have covered kicks, that time Paul Osbaldiston decided he would make the tackle on special teams by punting it out of bounds. And that time Ron Lancaster saw Paul Osbaldiston hit that one right out of bounds, right near the sideline anyway, so that Larry Thompson couldn't have a chance to return it, because special teams have been a problem for Ron Lancaster's Ticats here tonight.
A kick return for a touchdown by Saskatchewan, and a punt return by the Roughriders for touchdowns in this tie game. 1:25. Sarkisian rolling left. Incomplete at midfield. It'll be 2nd and 10. Intended there, sorry, for Dan Farthing.
It was a tough throw for Steve Sarkisian to try and hook up on, because he was running full speed to his left, and he had to try and throw it back into the middle of the field to his right. That's a tough throw for a quarterback because you're running full speed one way, trying to throw it the other way, and this is the little window that he had to throw it into. Larry Thompson realized he wasn't the intended receiver, so he pulls his arms in to hopefully his teammate can catch it behind him, but neither can hook up with it.
16 for 29.
You got it.
1:18 on the clock. How many more chances will Saskatchewan get in this tie game? Under pressure, they wrap him up and take him down, and look who it is. Joe Montfort with sack number 21 on the year, increasing his CFL lead.
Joe Mumford gets this one on second effort and great feet. He is right here working on John Terry up the field. He's going to get high on the initial pass rush. Little head fake gets high, but then a swim to come underneath, a plant, and watch the quick feet to get back up high again and pull down Sarkisian. That is not easy for a big man, and now Joe Mumford adds to his lead. Now has 21 on the season.
19.
And of the sacks, I would think not too many have been bigger than this one tonight.
Well, when you're trying to hold on to first place in home field in a tie football game, you can sack the opposition's quarterback in the dying seconds. Yeah, you're right. That's as big as they come.
We have had one tie in the CFL this season. It happened to be 31-31. It happened to involve the Hamilton Tiger Cats 3 weeks ago against the Montreal Alouettes. When they had a lead in that game, we saw the Alouettes creep back in it. Nice punt by McCallum again.
McCallum's
back inside the 40. Bobby Olive spins and gets across the 45 up to about the 47-yard line. 1:01 showing on the clock at Taylor Field. Hamilton football.
Well, now the strategy changes a little bit for Danny McManus. In the last series, he had plenty of time to go with the regular game plan and try and move the ball down the field. On this series now, he's going to have to try and pick up 10 and 15-yard gains rather than dump it off. He's got to work against the clock now to try and get into field goal position. He's about 4 first downs away from Osbaldiston having an attempt at 3 points.
From the 47. First down, out of the shotgun, McManus. And it's no good, intended for Archie Amerson, out of bounds. Vincent Donaldson on the coverage. We're into Paul Osbaldiston territory now at this time of the game, and alone on the sidelines, under a minute to go in this one. And if you're wondering how he has done, 35 of 42 coming into this game, he was hitting at 83.3%, and he has certainly added to his total. He has been perfect tonight.
And right now, Paul Osbaldiston on the sideline is going through the kick in his mind. He's visualizing lining up and making the field goal. That's what the great ones do. He'll make that kick 100 times before he goes on the field.
His longest from 51, but they still have the first down and more. Darren Flutie with the ball. A gain of 18 yards. Ticats on the move again and getting very close to that field goal territory for Osbaldiston.
Well, Paul Osbaldiston's longest is 51 yards. Right now, if they were to line up and kick it, Darren Flutie has given him an opportunity for about a 54-yarder. On a wet turf, Ron Lancaster would like to see his team a little bit closer to give Ozzy a decent chance.
Clock showing 52 seconds now. Handoff. Williams. As he's done all night, he gets great yardage up the middle, and this one looks like another Tiger Cat first down.
This is
10 yards.
This is the luxury of having a Ron Williams running hard in the backfield for you, because when you need to control the ball, you don't want to take a chance passing it. You want to rely on your running back, and Ron Williams just gave Paul Osbaldiston 10 yards of cushion on his field goal attempt.
Evidently 10 yards minus a couple of inches, because the second down marker is still there. Showing second down and ever so close to first down. 44 and counting now on the clock here.
Ron Lancaster just checked with Paul Osbaldiston to see, are you in range?
Williams, first down across the 35. I would think he's in range now.
Well, this is what he does. He goes to check with the kicker now. Are we in range now, or do I have to force a play down the field? He got the nod from Paul Osbaldiston that he was in his range right now, including the wet turf and the wind. The kickers know all the situations, no question about it. So now Ron Lancaster has to go. He knows that he's in field goal range. What he wants to do is control the ball and get it into the middle on a running play.
Williams again, they keep it on the ground. The clock continues to go. Stopping now at 21.
Now, the other thing that Paul Osbaldiston wants to think about here is he's going to think about making the field goal. But he wants to hit it hard enough that if should he miss wide left or right, it's strong enough to get it out of the back of the end zone, at least for a single.
They hand off again to Williams, driving, and it looks like another first down. Endless production along the ground tonight for the Hamilton Tiger Cats at number 24. 13-second showing now on the clock here at Taylor Field. In a tie football game, Hamilton in position to win it with Paul Osbaldiston, and if they do, the Saskatchewan Roughriders will be helpless but to watch BC take on Edmonton and hope the Eskimos can win. That's all it would take is McManus takes it and centers it. They would need the Eskimos to beat BC to keep very, very slim playoff hopes alive.
Yeah, and this is what the kicker does now. He's going to come out and he'll likely be iced by Jim Daly on the other sideline, maybe with a timeout. Try and make him think about the kick a little bit. Jim Daly will send in his kicker, Paul McCallum, in hopes that Paul Osbaldiston misses this one, and it's short enough that McCallum can kick it back out and try and save the tie.
It's in the middle of the field at the 31, easily within Osbaldiston's range. A slight breeze at his back. It is good. And with zeros on the clock, the most damning blow to the playoff hopes of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The Hamilton Tiger Cats have won this football game 34-31.
Well, Jim Daly will go back to a couple of plays. A penalty by Dan Comiskey. The big catch by Mike Morreale after being hit by Mario Smith. You know, I think Jim Daly will look at the film and say the team battled. They worked hard. We had some plays on special teams, but in the end, it wasn't enough. Just one or two more big plays at the end of the day for Ron Lancaster's boys, and they pull out the win.
And the game ball goes to Paul Osbaldiston. Game ball brought to you by Toyota Quality Service. Osbaldiston nails it on the final play of the game. Hamilton comes from behind twice and wins it by 3. We'll be back.
Play Safeway's $1 Million Touchdown to win for your chance to win $1 million. If your name appears, it means you have won Fill-A-Shave with reflex action. It adapts comfortably to the contours of your face. Closer contact for a closer shave. Fill-A-Shave from Philips, our closest shave ever. Or the Business Navigator Personal Organizer from Casio with PC synchronization software and large 1 megabyte anti-loss memory. The BN10 packs so much power it's like having a PC in your pocket. Enter your ballot at your local Safeway Food and Drug today.
And now it's time for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Super 8.
Right after the Tyrell Ulmer punt return for a touchdown, Hamilton faced 2nd and 22 when Mike Morreale catches the ball over the middle, takes a huge hit from Mario Smith, and picks up the first down. Somehow he hung on to that football, celebrates after the biggest first down of the game for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, which set up this touchdown to Ronald Williams. That tied it for Hamilton. They went on to win it. Paul Osbaldiston kicks the last-second field goal.
A cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of Canadian coaches in amateur sport on behalf of TSN and Super 8. With over 1,600 locations throughout North America, life's great at Super 8. A 31-yard field goal on the last play breaks a 31-31 tie. Hamilton wins it.
Hopping out there. Go farther. Go farther. Farther.
The 205 horsepower Isuzu Rodeo.
This message is coming to you from Television Land. In Television Land, I can dream of Genie. Wake up to breakfast television. Go to the transporter room. Buy a vowel. Get a ticket to ride. And take a giant leap for mankind. What year is it in Television Land? It's right now. It hasn't happened yet, and I don't want to miss a second of it.
And coming soon from Rogers Digital Choice TV.
Over 100 channels, digital quality sound and picture.
On TV, I've seen things. You're not going to miss all this, are you?
Psoriasis, seborrheic dermatitis, dandruff. Symptom, persistent, itchy, flaky scalp. Solution, Neutrogena T-Gel. It works. Neutrogena T-Gel Shampoo.
Now the Tex-Mex McWraps are at McDonald's. People are extremely inspired. Get a taste of Tex-Mex right here in Canada with Tex-Mex McWraps. A delicious new McWrap taste with fresh toppings. Seasoned chicken, Tex-Mex sauce, and sun-dried tomato dressing. But you better hurry in. They won't be here long.
Hey, Romeo, you're Juliet. She lives next door.
Thank you, baseball fans. Together we celebrated a new record and gave honor to the old one.
Thank you for being with me 2,632 times.
For making the present perfect.
Thanks for helping me become the man on the mound. For making me feel like a kid again.
I was an honor to change history with you.
Thank you, fans. Thank you.
Thank you, baseball fans, for the season of our lives.
Muchas gracias.
A good sweat isn't so good once the game is over. That's why there's Irish Spring Sport. It has a special antibacterial formula that kills odor-causing bacteria better than regular soap. It's Irish Spring Sport. Play as hard as you like.
Saskatchewan had the lead, or was tied for the lead, for 59 minutes and 55 seconds, but Aussie and the Cats grabbed the lead the only time it mattered, as clock ran out. 34-31 is the final. Now, Saskatchewan still mathematically alive in the Western playoff race, but this has to be an absolutely crushing blow.
It was a crushing blow, and I really think Saskatchewan is going to end up being in the last place. But let's talk for one moment about Hamilton. Anytime you have 2 kickoffs, 4 touchdowns, 14 points, that's almost impossible to overcome. I thought the difference was Ronald Williams tonight ran harder, made yards after first contact, controlled the clock. And you had Paul Espaldis. I gave the kickers a hard time, but he's an 84% kicker, calm, cool, and collected, made the big kick when he had to. But I'll tell you what, I'm still not sold on that penalty to Comiskey, because if you grab a guy's arm and his leverage is underneath the pads, he can't get his arm underneath. It's an interpretation rule. It could have gone either way while his arm is under here, because he has to take that arm under. So I don't necessarily agree with the call once again, Eric.
Well, Chris, you and I both know that there's basically an unwritten rule that you don't call holding in the last couple of minutes of the game. And there's nothing that players and coaches hate worse than to see officials affect the outcome of a game.
That looked pretty blatant.
Not really, because that move, that underarm move, is used all the time, and it's interpretation as to whether it's dramatically slowing the penetration of the defensive lineman. In my opinion, that was not dramatic. Now, if he grabbed his jersey, throw him down, that obvious, yes, then you have to call that. But
you never held anybody, Schultz, right?
If they didn't call that penalty, that would have been just fine. Nobody would have noticed it at all.
All right. Now, by the way, if BC wins tomorrow, Saskatchewan, or Sunday, Saskatchewan is officially eliminated. Ronald Williams with a huge night, 2 TDs to set up the winning field goal.